Hi, I'm Sweetie Abochi, serving you the AM News Bulletin this morning on the AM show. Details now. There's pressure mounting on government to disclose details regarding 2 flights that landed in Ghana in early March and later departed for Gran Canaria on March 25th. The flights, an air ambulance and a private jet, allegedly stayed in the country for 5 days, but no evidence has surfaced to confirm the air ambulance was carrying any patient. Ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee, John Intim Fojo, is calling on national security to review the cargo content of these aircraft, expressing concerns that they may have been involved in drug trafficking or money laundering.
Of air med flights and Cavoc Air private jets transporting suspected cocaine and cash. Ladies and gentlemen, on another security matter related to our airspace, the Minority Caucus calls on national security to, as a matter of urgency, make public the content of cargo suspected to be cocaine and cash transported into the country by 2 suspicious flights, namely Air Med flights NH23AM and Cavoc Air private jets Antonov and 12B, which landed on the tarmac of Kotoka International Airport in March 2025 from Gran Canaria, an island of Spain, and departed to the same Gran Canaria days after their arrival.
But the minority is also pressing for an update on the seizure of gold bars and cash by national security operatives on February 9th. The items were confiscated from a warehouse in Sappeman, but nearly 2 months later, there has been no official update on that investigation.
On national security's raid on 12 containers containing gold and cash. On February 9, 2025, national security conducted a major raid on a warehouse in Sappeman in the South municipality in Accra, where they uncovered 12 20-foot containers filled with gold bars and unspecified amount of cash in various denominations of US dollars and Ghana cedis, worth over several billions of dollars. This operation was widely carried by various media outlets in Ghana. Nearly 2 months after this operation, national security has failed to brief the public on the status of their investigation relating to the culprits behind the billions of gold and cash stashed in the 12 containers, and failed to disclose the actual quantity of gold and the specific amount of money retrieved during the operation, and what the state intends to do with the gold and cash currently in the custody of national security. We demand accountability. We demand national security to give accounts of the gold bars and the cash retrieved and what they intend to do with it.
Well, that's not all. The minority is also urging the government to resume the procurement process for offshore patrol vessels for the Ghana Navy, following a recent pirate attack that led to the kidnapping of crew members.
On the matter of reported pirate attack, while we urge full-scale investigation into the incident to apprehend the pirates, we call on the government to resource the Ghana Navy with a required complement of offshore patrol vessels to fully equip the Ghana Navy to more comprehensively and effectively safeguard our waters.
Away from that, 2 people have died after an illegal mining pit collapsed at Impasetia Yawenkwanta in the Chimwampunua district of the Ashanti region on Tuesday morning. Several others are feared trapped as rescue efforts continue. The identities of the deceased and those still trapped are yet to be confirmed, and local residents, along with police and security agencies, are working to retrieve the bodies and rescue others. Nana Nkansa is a resident, and he spoke to Joy News about the tragic incident.
Face no, if you want the face ne down, and you know the face no down, and you omuditi echo assassin and Nkasa as I pick no omudebo. Okay. Na we no omodi dia mana kwa ase ne mo enam se ase no na epeke ma omoni ntino omoni ni soro de no enti no omu didi aseɛ no omu dwiri aseɛ nsa omu di pick na bobo aseɛ sa enti ebasa na esoro ni see because the load in the weight ni nyina be dey abegina top enti no na omu ahwɛ because omu concentration wo sika na omu nya no so enti no omu adwene ni so se bia ade na omu yɛ no so ehu abitima sa dey adwiri asa de ku omu enti no mu.
Well, you want to stay with us because when we get to our big stories, we get to more details on that. But in other stories, especially in the Western Central region, the police have arrested 11 individuals, including 4 Chinese nationals, for illegal mining along the Bonsa River and a site near Wasagona. The operation, which took place on March 31st, led to the confiscation of several mining equipment, while the suspects who confessed to the illegal activities are now in police custody.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam. As it is, it has been the policy of the Inspector General of Police and the Ghana Police Service in general to clamp down on this illegal mining. But it's not an easy task. But we are doing our best. And on this day, our intelligence team has monitored activities of some illegal miners along the Bonsa River. And on the 31st, that's yesterday, we had the green light that when we move, we could get them.
Well, that's it for Galamsey, but a deadly outbreak of African swine fever has hit Damongo in the Savannah region, killing hundreds of pigs and putting the livelihoods of farmers at risk. A number of communities are struggling to contain the disease, with some burying infected pigs to curb its spread. Many are still recovering from a previous outbreak in 2023, and some say they may have to abandon pig farming altogether if the situation persists. Moving on, hundreds of traders counting their losses after the Doom Blue Light Arena fire may soon get some relief. President John Dramani Mahama has directed the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council and the Gender Ministry to engage banks on easing loan repayment terms for affected business owners. Regional Minister Dr. Frank Amakohene says some victims, having lost everything, are also receiving psychological support. And Nanaya Aljima will tell us more in this report.
According to figures from the National Disaster Management Organization, about 2,900 people were affected by the Doom fire. By the figure, 1,500 people claim not to be in position to feed themselves, hence foodstuff support. Dr. Amakohene indicated records have shown some persons are indebted to banks.
But some of them who come in complain about their bankers still, pestering them for repayment of loans. I made this information available to His Excellency the President, who has requested that we take the details of the traders and their bankers so that we will get to know the loans they have taken and be able to intervene.
Dr. Amakohene reveals a holistic support is being extended to the victims.
I think there was a key issue about psychological support. So that one too, we have laid the team from Konfanoche, who we refer them to when the issues come up. There are others too who come in here, and if you look at their condition, you realize that they need some level of support. As Regional Minister, on behalf of the President, I encourage them that the government is willing to support them.
Meanwhile, some philanthropists continue to offer financial support to the fire victims. Renowned road and building contractor Emmanuel Abuaje has extended financial support of 500,000 cedis to persons affected by the fire. The amount was received by the Regional Coordinating Council on behalf of the traders. I am from Kumasi and I know the role small businesses play in the local economy. I am aware of the negative impact of the fire on your business. My foundation has decided to support people in need. So in response to the regional minister's call, I am here to support you with 500,000 cedis, and I call on all to respond in similar manner. Reconstruction of the market is uncertain as the Regional Coordinating Council wait on the Asantehene for a determination. For Joy News, Nana Jima reporting.
Let's stay in the Ashanti region because residents of Ejiso, Asaman are struggling, with erratic water supply due to frequent breakdowns of the community's borehole. Many now rely on neighboring boreholes to meet their daily water needs. While they seek temporary solutions, they are calling on the government for a lasting fix to the crisis. Nana Ojima again.
The existing borehole at Ejiso Asaman, built in the early 90s, has gone through several renovations. The regular breakdowns and repairs have drained the community until some residents began to sink boreholes for private use, mainly turned to streams for water supply. Stephen Buama is assembly member for Tikrum, Baro, Asaman electoral area.
We sometimes turn to the stream when the borehole develops a fault. We share the stream with animals. The repairs on the borehole may take time sometimes due to the costs involved.
Akwesi Brobe, a resident of the area, is worried about possible disease outbreak in the community.
A lot of us turn to the stream for water to survive. We can't continue to drink from unsafe water sources. It can cause diseases among the people.
Through a partnership between Rotary Club of Kumasi Premier International and electronic giants LG, a solar-powered borehole has been commissioned for the community. Katechi Efrifa is marketing manager of LG.
In Ghana specifically, there's a lot of sunlight. How are we going to convert these sunlight to make sure that it is also to our benefit?
Meanwhile, Rotary Club of Kumasi Premier International is encouraging the community to institute measures to maintain the facility. Rotarian Avinash Lakani is president-elect.
They've really got something good on their hands here. I think they should take very good care of it. They should maintain it because we know as a club that they do have more needs regarding sanitation issues. The club can always partner with them and do much more for the community provided the facilities that are given to them are maintained.
Now, back here in Accra, Kolebu Teaching Hospital is optimistic that partnerships with international organizations will equip local health practitioners with the skills to perform full cleft palate surgeries. This follows a collaboration with NGO Operation Smile Ghana, which successfully restored the smiles and speech of 45 children through corrective surgery. More in this report.
The corrective surgeries conducted over a period of 9 days benefited 45 children from across the country. Cleft palate is a congenital condition where there is an opening or gap in the roof of the mouth that can affect speech, eating, and overall health. The 3-year partnership between the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and the Operation Smile team has helped improve the speech of children born with the condition. Head of the National Plastic Reconstructive Unit at the hospital, Dr. Pokuwari Ampoma, added the initiative has helped to boost the morale of the children. For this particular project, we call it a speech surgery project because it is not the regular cleft lip and cleft palate reconstruction that we have been doing. These are a subset of patients who have had their palates fixed. Now, the palate is an important element if you're able to speak properly. And so for some of the patients, even though the palate has been repaired, they are still not able to speak very clearly. Help is available within Ghana, and it's just a phone call away. So we have the contact line for Patient Smile, or you can come directly to the center, or you can call the center, either way. Dr. Ampoma further expressed hope such collaborations would facilitate the investment in equipping the partnering health facilities, as well as build the capacity of the local surgeons who join the Operation Smile team, so they can also perform such complete surgeries on their own. In terms of funding, in terms of support for these patients at the district level, because previously we had only about 4 speech therapists
in Ghana. Now there are about 54 of them.
A speech therapist with the team, Deidre Maloon, who highlighted how communication difficulties due to cleft palates affect the quality of life of children, noted a need for more speech therapists to train them after the surgeries.
And after the surgery, and this is very important, it's not finished. The patient needs to continue with a program of speech therapy. So what is happening here in Ghana is very important, because the Operation Smile team here in Ghana is being able to provide really good surgery with a local team, and also to provide speech therapy with a local team.
Yearly, parents of children with cleft palates look forward to the Operation Smile team visiting Ghana. Their ultimate desire is to have access, a free one, to these life-changing surgeries so they can see their children communicate effectively and confidently.
Imagine going to school but not knowing where you'll sit. For years, students at Nwaso Inji Anglican Basic School had to take turns learning because there weren't enough classrooms. Their main block, destroyed by a heavy downpour years ago, left them studying under makeshift structures. But that struggle is finally over thanks to American rapper Ja Rule and NGO Pencils of Promise, who stepped in to change their story. My colleague Jacqueline Ansomayebwa tells us more.
What started as a promise has now become a reality. A 6-unit classroom block now stands where the rooms once were, bringing relief to students and teachers alike. The shift system is now a thing of the past, and for the first time in years, every child at Nyaso Anglican Basic School can sit in the proper classroom without worrying about space or the weather.
This school was chosen for this project to specifically end the shift system that existed in this school for years. This system was scrapped by the Ghana Education for years, but this school cannot help but to continue to run the shifts.
For American rapper and singer Ja Rule, this isn't about fixing classrooms. It's about building dreams. He believes education goes beyond textbooks and that activities like sport and the art can play a big role in shaping the future of these pupils.
I'm really, really excited and honored. There's a lot of emotions running right now. This is like one of the most, it's probably the most important thing that I've done in my career. So it's very amazing to me, yeah.
You were talking about expanding the facilities, that is the gym, the dance and all that. Do you think is equal to the classroom experience?
Well, for some kids it will be, and for some kids the classroom experience will be everything, and for some, those recreational experiences will be everything. But they go hand in hand. The two are synonymous. Education and arts and sports and all those things are really, really good for kids, because especially athletics, it teaches them teamwork and camaraderie. So I definitely want to make that a part of their learning experience.
And while the adults focused on overcoming challenges, the students were focused on celebrating. For them, this isn't just a building, it's a second chance.
I am happy about the new classroom. Thank you, Daru. Thank you, Pencils of Promise.
From struggling to finding a place to learn to finally sitting in their own classrooms, the pupils at Nyaso Anglican Basic School have seen their story rewritten. Jaru and Pencils of Promise didn't just make a promise, they delivered right on time. For Joy News, I'm Jacqueline Ansomayebwa.
From that amazing story from Jacqueline Ansomayebwa, let's head into our business update now with Benjamin Akakbo.
Thank you for staying. Let's get right into the stories now. And ranking member of Parliament's Committee on Economy and Development, Kojo Ponkroma, has announced his committee's commitment to ensuring fiscal prudence and preventing budget overruns. According to him, his committee will be partnering the Budget Committee to achieve exactly that. Now, speaking on Business Live, Mr. Oponkroma stated that the committee's focus on preventing budget overruns was particularly significant given the government's efforts at reducing expenditure and achieving economic stability.
The job of the budget committee, and we will be assisting them from the economy side, is to ensure that all of these things are adhered to so that you don't have overruns in the end. There's quite elaborate provision in the Public Financial Management Act. We haven't been too excellent in applying or enforcing it, but I think what we need to do now with these new standing orders and multiple committees keeping an eye on it is to ensure that those who are responsible for the application of these funds stick with the PFMA regulation.
In our other story for this morning, the Ghana cedi placed 7th as the strongest currency in Africa as of the end of the first quarter of 2025. Its currency per value was estimated at 15.48 Ghana cedis to $1 American dollar. Now, this rating is courtesy of the Forbes currency calculator. Here's more.
According to the Bank of Ghana, the cedi lost 5.3% in value on the interbank market in the first quarter of 2025. However, it's depreciated by nearly 3% to the American greenback in the retail market. Tunisia's dinar was the strongest currency so far this year in Africa. Its currency value per US dollar was estimated at 3 dinar. It was followed by the Libyan dinar, Morocco's dirham, Botswana's pula, Seychelles rupee, and Eritrean nakfa in 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th respectively. In 8th, 9th, and 10th were the Lesotho loti, Namibian dollar, and South African rand respectively. The top 5 countries saw a slight increase in currency value compared to the list last month. According to Forbes, a strong and stable currency is a valuable economic asset for any country, especially African countries pursuing long-term growth and global competitiveness. Again, a stable currency serves as a cushion against economic shocks, preserving purchasing power and economic confidence. An example is Kenya's shillings that has been steady as a result of foreign inflows from non-governmental organizations and remittances.
Well, and that's how we cap it off for our business update and also wrap for the main news. But stick and stay with us. The news review is up next. Political scientist and director of the Center for European Studies, Dr. Kwame Asante, joins us in a bit. We'll be right back.
This is the AM show sponsored by Waylead Properties, and this segment is the news review segment. But before we get into it, are you thinking of a rewarding investment you can engage in? Waylead Company Limited is your preferred choice for such investment. Waylead Company Limited is a real estate company with several developments to its credit in Accra. And you want to invest in our new development, Willow Lane, where elegance will meet tranquility in the heart of Accra. We provide quality housing at an affordable cost and also with flexible payment option. At Waylead Properties, we provide you 24-hour security, reliable power supply, and other social amenities to make your stay a memorable one. Why don't you give us a call now on these numbers, 0240-111-119 or 0504-499-999. You can also visit our website at www.waylead.org for more information. Then,
you know that in Ghana, every year, thousands of our brightest minds seek better prospects abroad, leaving a gap in our workforce. The question, how can Ghana inspire its talent to stay right here? Well, join David Ofosudote, Professor Mary Satrana, and Her Excellency Dr. Amina Gurib Fakim, former president of Mauritius, at the 12th edition of the Ishmael Yamson and Associates Business Roundtable to discuss managing the talent exodus, leveraging private-public partnerships for growth. The date is the 7th of May, 2025. The venue is the Labadi Beach Hotel. Time, 9 a.m. If you'd like to register, text your name and organization to 0530-117-202. Or you can also shoot an email to info@ieyamson.com. And that ushers us right into the newspaper review. Our guest will join us shortly. But before then, I don't know for you this week, what has been that story that has really got your attention?
The story and the response. That press conference that Reverend John Ntimfojo had about those 2 containers. And then the president replied on his Facebook, I was just reading it, that his attention had been drawn to such allegations that have been made. And he's directed some security officers, I think Drugs Commission and something, to assist. Reverend Ntimfojo should assist these security agencies to investigate and bring clarity to that matter. And comments pouring in on Facebook, particularly where I was reading this, is that very soon we'll start saying that and they're oppressing press freedom and all that because this man just blew the whistle. Why should he be the one to assist with investigations?
I mean,
like,
if you
he's the one,
whistle,
you know something.
You should be willing to, I on social media yesterday, someone literally wrote, but I mean, if these things, I think it's high time we took these more seriously. You remember Kwame A+ also made certain allegations in the past, and people said that, look, because what you're saying, if you have that information, then help us, because it will help us resolve a plethora
Otherwise,
of
they're
issues.
just casting aspersions.
So if you say that, I know this for a fact, or I have information, assist the authorities to do the right thing. I think there's too much talk going on. I can understand that the minority also never expected to be where they are, but we must encourage the minority to be up there in holding the feet of this government to the fire of accountability. That they must do, else they would have failed as a minority, because in any case, looking at the gap the majority has, if they don't get contained, there may be the tendency. You know the aphorism about power. Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. However, in doing this, the minority must know what is, I don't want to use that word, but what is apt and what is not, and learn to ignore things that are not necessarily important and focus on the most important things. That's all I will say.
That's a very nice tie, Ben. It caught my attention.
Thank you. Do you want me to start with yours?
No,
you don't
please.
Want me to
No, thank you. Let's usher in our guest, Dr. Kwame Asasante. Thank you for joining us. Good morning to you. Doc, I think you're muted. Okay, we will try and resolve that challenge because I see you speaking, but we can't hear you. And Ben, what about you? What story occupied the most space in your mind over the weekend leading up to this morning?
I mean, a lot of talk about LI 2462.
Yeah.
You know, also on the back of recent developments and the talk about amending rather than revoking, and some entities like Arusha Ghana putting out information that if you amend, we save about only 10% of the forest. If you revoke, we save about 60%. But there are different dynamics to it, because we had Mohammed Bataglia, the Sisala East MP, who is, I think, on that beat, also come and expatiate on why amending certain critical parts would suffice. But for me, look at the story we did this morning about the Galamsey.
Yeah.
You get it. We must find a solution to this like yesterday, not even today.
Well, let me try and see if we have Dr. Kwame Asasante's issue resolved. But we also have Clement Abeidu. He's Executive Director at Africa Center for Environment and Sustainability. Mr. Abeidu, good morning.
Good morning, my sister. I hope you're doing well this morning.
I'm fabulous. Thank you. Well, we can hear. Let me just try Dr. Kwame Asasante one last time, and then we continue the conversation. Doc, can you hear us now? Let's see if we can hear you now. Okay, we don't have him. Well, Mr. Abeidu, let's get into any reflections you might have on any national issue of national interest that you want to share with us this morning. You have about a minute and a half.
Yes, very well. Thank you very much once again, and a very good morning to your chair. Sit very carefully and see how they can manage the environmental side of the project. It will be very good for all of us. I mean, people are having a lot of challenges with respiratory problems, with asthma and all sort of things. And so if you are not careful and avert or manage these environmental impact that comes with some of these activities, then it becomes quite a problem. So I want to use the opportunity to talk about this, to see how the contractor can really work things out to ensure that the environmental effect that is coming out of the construction activity is minimized.
Thoughts before we get into the newspaper?
I mean, none on this point.
Okay.
Maybe we'll try later when we have Dr. Kwame Asante to. Doc, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Great,
okay.
great. So let's take your initial thoughts right before we get into the newspapers.
Right. I will begin this way. Last week we had very uncomfortable news about the health condition of our vice president. And to the extent that she was handled at UDMC and then later has been flown outside the country for further treatment. We are praying with her. We know she'll be fine and will be back to come and continue the good work she started. But that said, it should give us opportunity to also build more capacity to contain such problems here. I'll give credit to the Mills Mahama administration, which put up this edifice at Legon. We want to urge them to take the conversation a notch further by helping that hospital to also build more capacity so that some of these problems that we need to ferry people across the ocean to other wells for treatment, we can handle it here. They did a good job by building a hospital. We want them to take advantage to, extend it by incorporating other things that will help us to deal with problems of that nature. And then we are able to make a better life for ourselves here. We are praying with the vice president. We know he will be fine and come back to work. That is my sermon for this morning.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kwame Asante. Let me start with the News Center paper. Bank of Ghana to clean up SDI's sector, according to Dr. Isiama. Akosua Menu urges TESCON members to uphold party values. President Mahama calls for unity at Eid al-Fitr celebration. MPs to blow 266 million Ghana cedis on monitoring DACF Get Fund projects. And 2 new levies proposed as appointees grapple with inadequate budgetary location. In the last story on the front page, Ghana must champion democracy in the Sahel, according to Jinapo. Actually, I want to start from there. We know that they've imposed a new tariff, 0.5% tariff on all goods coming into their country, especially from non-ECOWAS countries. I want to see what the former minister is talking about. The ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament, Samuel Abu Jinapo, has called on Ghana to take a leadership role in promoting democratic governance in the Sahel region. Speaking in Parliament, the Damongo MP emphasized that Ghana as a country built on democratic principles must uphold and advocate these values, particularly in its interactions with Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Doc, does it really fall to us to be the ones to lead democratic or advance democracy in the Sahel, like the former minister is saying? What do you think about that before I go to other stories?
I think it's in order in the sense that if you look at the sub-region, we have more stable democracy. So one would not be far from the truth when we say that this country, which has been the beacon of hope relative to democratic rule, should take charge. But that said, all countries have a responsibility to make democracy work. And we will urge our brothers and sisters in the Sahel region to consider democratic enterprise serious business. A military will come with all the flowery statements and all the programs that you can believe them in. But I can tell you without fear of contradiction that all over the world, we have not seen the best of military regime. So we should take it upon ourselves, urge our people to persuade the military to disengage so that they build a democracy and sustain it. And I'm happy that our president has started the call when he invited some of them to his inaugural program. We want him to have more conversation with them so that in no time they will disengage and hand over power to the people so that we'll build a stable democracy in West Africa. If Ghana is Ghana is democratically strong and others are not, you know the effect that is going to have on Ghana.
Okay. Mr. Baidu, quick thoughts on this before we move on to other stories.
Yes, very well. You see, it's not debatable that our democracy is quite enviable across the space of Africa. And so a lot of countries are looking up to us. A lot of countries are, trying to find into our footsteps and ensure that they have a more stable democracy. I can tell you, even the stable democratic countries like the Nigerians and other countries that we know still feel that Ghana is up there when it comes to democratic governance. And so it's right in place for us to take that responsibility to ensure that our neighboring countries are also are also being whipped in line. Indeed, in this time and age, I don't think any well-meaning economic country would want to go in for a military government. And so, because we all know the effects, the implications, we all know the issues that comes along with military governance. And so, it's important that we lead the way to ensure that these countries are able to adopt, stabilize, and make progress with democratic governance. So I think I'm in line with it.
Okay. So 3 headlines, and I'll end on the main story I want to focus on. 63 inmates graduate from UCC, 3 obtain first class. Professor Opoku-Agyeman seeks medical treatment abroad, and President calls for unity at Eid al-Fitr celebrations. But I want to talk about MPs to blow 266 million Ghana cedis on monitoring District Assembly Common Fund Get Fund project. So, and this story is still on the news, in the news center, page 6. Members of Parliament have approved over 266 million Ghana cedis to themselves for monitoring project funded by the Ghana Education Trust Fund, that is Get Fund, and the District Assembly's Common Fund in their constituencies. And this means that each MP will receive 966,000 Ghana cedis in 2025 for project monitoring. And the allocation consists of 816,304 Ghana cedis from the District Assembly Common Fund, as the fund's administrator proposed distributing 225 million Ghana cedis equally among all 276 members of Parliament for project monitoring. Now, I know this is an issue of duplication of duties or wasteful spending, and whether these lawmakers are project executors or monitors. I really don't know what's going on here, but Doc and Mr. Baidu, over to you. I want to start with you, Dr. Kwame Asante.
Yes, it is a bit strange to me that we can allocate such large amount of money for MPs to monitor programs within their constituencies. Is it the case that they have that capacity to do the monitoring? Wouldn't it be an ideal if we are able to give this thing to a third party, government, probably a government agency, to do the monitoring? And since it will be a government agency, they're already drawing salary from government payroll. So we are not going to incur that much money to be able to do that tax. I think they should take a second look at this, and that if a need be, we'll look at this consideration and see what it can come out. Remember, every little coin counts a lot in this enterprise. So that would be my position on that. I want to look at the inmates who have graduated. Very good story. It tells you that the prison administration are extremely alive to the changing circumstances of the world, and they want to make sure that being a prisoner does not prevent you from becoming who you are. So they are engaging on self-correction institutions. They are becoming the real self-correction institutions that are building capacity so that people come out, they can have something to work on. That is good. And we want the program to be extended to as many people as possible so that they can have better lives after their service. I know it's not easy, but I commend the prison service for that bold initiative. We have some of them in other university, Eugene and all that, especially the distance education. And I like the collaboration between the prisons and the universities. And then we want the state must support them in all its efforts so that we build capacity of these people and lessen some of our problems in that direction.
Thank you, Doc. And Dr. Clement Abedu, sorry, I've been calling you Mr. Abedu. Doc, let's hear your thoughts as well on MPs to receive nearly 1 million Ghana cedi each for project monitoring. I find that quite interesting. What about you?
I do too. In fact, I've been wondering, I've been thinking, I've been reflecting what really is the essence of this, what really is informing such a move. We have been talking about the separation of powers, especially when it comes to the members of parliament, our legislators trying to, or having been acting as if they are district chief executives and MMDCs, or as development agents within the district or the local assembly. Really, these are people whom we have elected to serve as
I think we have some interruptions there, but that's it for the news center. Ben, should we get into your papers?
Well, let's start with the Ghana feed this morning. Interesting batch of papers I have. And Jinapo calls for committee to track missing ECG assets. Kennedy Japan blames NPP election loss on Baumia's Muslim faith. Maiden Afenyo-Markin records massive patronage traders, farmers, Lord Samir Wuku. Jospon Group studies waste to energy and apprenticeship program in Austria, and drug trafficking, money laundering cases rising under the NDC. That's according to the minority. So let me just get quickly into those stories. But an interesting one that happened over the weekend, and in fact over the last few days, the town of Amanokrom in the Ekuapem North constituency came alive on Saturday, 29th March 2025, as it hosted the maiden edition of the Afenyo-Markin, a local trade fair aimed at connecting farmers directly with consumers. The initiative, spearheaded by the Member of Parliament, Mr. Samir Wuku, drew massive patronage and widespread commendation from farmers, traders and residents alike. The market saw an impressive turnout, with fresh produce, grains, vegetables and other locally made goods selling out quickly. For many of the participating farmers and traders, it was a breakthrough moment after months of struggling with limited market access and post-harvest losses. I think from what I saw on social media and from what I've also followed about this story, it's a positive initiative by the Member of Parliament, and something that maybe if other constituencies or other areas also replicated, those with farming communities, animal husbandry going on, it could help. It could help these people in there. But let me add a few stories before I come to you, gentlemen, for your take. There's also on page 4, let me go there, this story that has haunted me in the last few days. Energy and Green Transition Minister John Abdullahi Jinapo has called for the establishment of a 3-member committee to investigate the disappearance of ECG containers at the Tema Port. According to the minister, the committee's primary task will be to meticulously trace the serial numbers of the missing containers to determine their final destination and uncover those responsible for their disappearance. How this can happen? We've heard from the boss of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the former boss, who said that it would be impossible for this to happen. So how did it happen? And I'll add this this last one, and then, gentlemen, you can reflect. Drug trafficking, money laundering cases rising under NDC. That's according to the minority. So the minority in Parliament has raised concerns over what it deems to be the increasing case of drug trafficking and money laundering in the country, barely 3 months after the MPP handed over power to the NDC. According to them, nearly 2 months after a raid on 12 containers of gold and cash at Sapim and Nakra, the National Security has failed to brief the public on the status of investigations to ascertain the culprits and the actual quantity of gold and the specific amount of money retrieved in the operation. Additionally, the caucus has demanded accountability for cargo suspected to be cocaine and cash transported into the country by 2 suspicious flights that landed at the Kotoka International Airport in March 2025, and for which reason The president has directed that since Reverend Tim Fojo seems to know a lot about these happenings and the consignment, he should aid our security services in getting some closure to the matter. Gentlemen, your quick reflections. I'll start with you, Dr. Hassan Asante. Hello, Doc?
Yes. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can.
Right. The maiding of Fear Market, a good move. That's my constituency. And I'll urge the MP to do more by extending this conversation into the production of this agricultural, products. We need people to get onto the farms and do the needful. Once we are able to strengthen agriculture, we have food for ourselves, for our industry in terms of raw materials, and then we have also jobs. So I think they can extend that conversation for us to have more. You need to produce before you market them. So if we are able to take that up very effectively, it will help. We've seen this type of markets in places such as Europe and America. You see Saturday market. When I was in Switzerland, I saw a lot of them. But you encourage people to expand the business. Then look at also...
and let me just
ECG.
add, Doc, since you mentioned the Saturday markets, there's the Parks and Gardens. I just remembered Parks and Gardens around in cantonments. They do this, I think, 2 Saturdays in a month. They are there. I don't know whether it's the first and last or second and last or something, but at least for those who like to patronize good items, you can pass by as well. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, because one of the difficulties of farmers is that when they produce, there's no market for them. Yeah. And I speak on authority because I'm also somehow engaged in this type of enterprise. So if the MP want to do this, let us expand the base so that we can get more people and then get more employment for our people. Issue of ECG missing containers. I am happy that the government is not paying lip service to it. Let them go into it and then they find all the fine details, share with us. Then we can comment and comment well. For now, we want to shepherd the process gingerly. Let them get there, let them finish, then we can come back and have a meaningful conversation. Issue of drug trafficking, and that it died down a little bit. And if we are recording increasing numbers, I think our security must step up their game. I know they've done so well over the years to deal with this problem. You recall many years, almost every day you hear stories about drug trafficking and all that, and it died down. I think our security people, I trust them. When given the opportunity, they will be able to root out all these miscreants from our society so that we can get a clean record.
Doc, is it that now there are more eyes and so more of those instances are being exposed, or that maybe in the past they were passing through and we didn't even know, which is why they never came to the forefront?
I think it's a mix of factors, because this time around you see more eyes on this type of enterprise, that people want to clamp down the activities, and then the state also taking more interest in the matter. Previously, you wonder how can drug get through Kotoka International Airport and all that. But now there's a conscious effort on the part of the state, on the part of security apparatus, and the whole world is also watching. So you don't want to get into the wrong books of other countries. So now all factors are helping us to be able to fight this battle head on.
It's interesting, Sweetie, because sometime in 2024, I recall there were a number of incidents, drug busts. I remember quite some hauls in there. And you would ask yourself, what has been happening over the last few years? Have we been able to control the situation? But definitely, we must keep it in check so that we don't get branded. I think it was in some point in the 2000s. I've forgotten exactly when, but we had a crisis on our hands when it came to drug trafficking. And we were even on a blacklist, I think, on some institutions' blacklists as a country, and later it was lifted. We don't want to be a narco state, so definitely not. Dr. Abedu, your reflections on these stories?
Yeah, very well. Just a quick touch on the Ophir market. I very well with Doc. You see, we need to drive the demand side of production. When there is enough demand for a product, it's easy for the producer to also, the producer is motivated to produce because you know that it will be consumed. We need to really extend this conversation at a very high level for us as Ghanaians to understand the need to start looking at consuming our locally produced foods and other resources, because really those are the basic things that are going to drive us as a country. But you see, when we produce with the assumption that people are automatically going to consume, it is not really the case. People go to the supermarket, people go to the market, and all that they are looking for is what is being imported, what is from China, what is from the States, what is from UK and the Europe and all that. And so we need to really reorient ourselves to understand that we need to start consuming what we are producing from here. The excesses, then we can think of exporting them. That's where we can get the revenue. And of course, that is where the country itself will benefit, because then we are going to spend less on importing, which has a positive implication on our fiscal and our forex balances. So I think it's a good move. The MP should just extend that conversation across. It should be more of a national issue that we have to address. We have to be very intentional about it as a policy, so that we can encourage every Ghanaian to understand the need to consume on locally produced goods. And that is where really is going to take us far as a country. I want to touch also briefly on the drug trafficking issue before I go to the missing container. Yes, I'm quite excited to find out that, we are blowing whistle, so to speak, because now the investigations are now going to be conducted. We hope and pray that this is not one of the gimmicks or something to just start painting the government bad, because we know politicians, sometimes they can be very interesting about the way they go about things.
Which is why it is good that Reverend Tim Fojo is going to assist with investigations, so to speak, since he has some information. I'm sure it would be good as a whistleblower to feed the security apparatus with that information to ensure that the right things are done.
Very well. That is why I find it very interesting, because now there's no other person like a member of parliament. And so, they are all of the same class. They may have their own way of handling it. But what about if, for example, investigations are conducted and it's found out that it's not true, or that is not really the case? Then what happens? I think that on one side, the position ought to be very strategic here, because if they try to start painting the government in a way that will not be appealing to the people, and they don't get it right, they will further lose that confidence from the people, and it's going to affect them very badly. So I am hoping that whatever information that Reverend Intifojo is bringing out is factual, is something that can help us get a certain result. If not, it goes further to really derail, to affect the public image as far as the opposition is concerned. But also from the side of the president, I was really expecting that the security agencies would take the matter without necessarily having to pinch Reverend Intifojo. Yes, we know that he brought up the issue, but that is why we have security agencies. They have different ways of discovering or to conduct their investigations. So to pull the whistleblower here in, I find it a bit problematic at this stage of the investigation. Now, what it means really also is that if, for example, I'm not as powerful as the member of parliament or Reverend Tim Fojo or the MPP, and then I have a certain information.
Hello, Doc.
I think there's a network interruption.
We may have lost him, but my take on it is, the security agencies have been called to work on it, right? And if they can collaborate with Reverend Tim Fojo, I think it's not a bad thing, is it? Since he seems to know more, he should be willing to help. And in any case, I don't have much reason to doubt Reverend Tim Fojo, because he is a reverend minister, a man of the cloth. So hopefully he has his facts right, and he will be able to assist in those investigations. Dr. Abedu, are you with us? All right, we don't have Dr. Abedu. Let me just add these from this paper, and then, Sweetie, I'll come back to you for other papers. Kennedy Japan blames MPP election loss on Baumia's Muslim faith. An interesting, very curious story. Kennedy Japan, a former MPP flag bearer hopeful, has voiced his concerns over Dr. Mahmoud Baumia's presidential candidacy, suggesting that the party's defeat in the last election was due to religious factors. Now, speaking at a gathering with legal professionals in Kumasi, Japan appealed for their backing in his second attempt to lead the MPP. Japan pointed to the influence of Christian leaders who, according to him, discouraged their followers from supporting a Muslim candidate like Baumia. I think this kind of rhetoric, honestly, I don't know, it's rather problematic. And I also remember that Global Info Analytics when the elections were about to be held, had conducted some surveys in respect of how much of a role religion played. And checking it, religion was not a real factor. People were focusing on the economy, trust issues, among others, rather than ethnicity and the economy. So I don't know. Dr. Abedu, can you hear me?
Yes, very well, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was making the quick point that it's a collaborative effort. The security agencies have been called upon, will act on the matter, God willing. But the point also to be made is, if Reverend Ntim Fojo, and by the way, he's a Reverend Minister, so I'm hoping that what he's saying is the truth, if he assists, is there anything wrong with that? Just wrap up on that point.
Definitely not. Definitely not, because, this approach is quite different. He didn't come in as blowing whistle or whatever. He came publicly to announce that this is what is happening. And so I don't think...
but he's a member of parliament.
Exactly. So we expect a certain level of integrity. We expect a certain level of fact. Presenting a very factual issues or information to them. And if it doesn't happen so, then if the honorable becomes a problem, how do we call him an honorable if he's not being honorable in this case? But hopefully, and of course, you mentioned he's also a reverend as well. So let's see how it goes. But for me, I think that the opposition ought to be very strategic and tactical here in all the dealings that they have with the government, especially when it comes to, trying to politicize government, trying to pinch government on certain things. The opposition would definitely want to start putting out some information out there to make the government look unpopular. But if they don't get their timing right, if they don't get their issues right, it will end up affecting them more badly because of the already negative image that has been associated with them, especially when it comes to the issues that came about prior to the 2024 elections and all that. So that's what I want to really say about that. But I think from the side of the government also, we the people need good answers to some of these issues, because these are some of the problems that the people, Ghanaians, are always talking about. We are not happy when it comes to issues of corruption. We are not happy when it comes to issues of bad governance. Our institutions not playing to the cards and all that. And so when these issues continue to emerge, we end up losing trust as a people, and it doesn't affect they themselves as leaders. So governments have to be very, very, very serious and interested in this, and ensure that the truth comes out and that the corporates are dealt with by law.
Just as I conclude with these stories, I also want to, Sweetie, there's this, and our guests, what is the bar of honesty or truthfulness when it comes to those in the public service, those in politics and all of that? I ask that based on the premise of Justice Remsai, the deputy AG, in recent times talking about the fact that the minority leader knew of certain things when it came to the former central bank's governor, and that, we've used raid so often, but it's been explained. So security services going to his house, basically, to seek certain information, and that maybe they ought to start looking at how some of these privileges are being abused, right? So maybe we should also look at misinformation and disinformation, if they turn out to be the case, coming from the quarters of maybe Parliament or the executive itself, or even the judiciary, and find out how do we really deal with these instances? Or is it that we can lie through our teeth, and even if it's it's proven not to be true. Well, we've said it. You know, those are things we ought to investigate. But I was on this story, which I'll get your responses to. Kennedy Japan blames MPP election loss on Baumia's Muslim faith. And then the second story, I'll just take a brief part, get your reflections, and I'm done with the paper. Government's 292.4 million Ghana cedi mistake. Why free sanitary pads is the problem and not a solution. That's according to Ebenezer DeGaulle. And he says, menstrual hygiene is a critical issue that affects millions of women. I mean, this first part we already know. As hinted in the 2025 fiscal budget by Finance Minister Dr. Ato Forson, the government plans to allocate 292.4 million Ghana cedis, approximately $18.9 million, to distribute free sanitary pads to female students in primary and secondary schools. I'll end here. While the intention is commendable to many Ghanaians, the approach lacks policy creativity and fails to address the root issues. Menstrual hygiene is a multifaceted problem encompassing cultural, biological, and economic aspects. Tackling the economic side by making sanitary pads products accessible and affordable is a more viable option. I don't know what you think, Dr. Kwame Asante. I know that you are very much aware of some of these instances and how young girls suffer. What are your thoughts on these stories, Kennedy Japan and the sanitary pad situation?
I think the sanitary pad situation, it's a good policy, but they need to make sure that the policy is worth its salt. They have to examine the policy. It has been implemented over the years. Now you want to evaluate if it is something that you need to inject into the policy to make it more viable. Why not? If you think you need to, as it were, scrap it all together and introduce something that will replace it in a more important manner, why not? So that is the way to go. Then I'll come back to look at Kennedy Japan and Baumia's issue. Blaming the MPP defeat on that, I think it's not the best to come from the Honorable former Member of Parliament. If you want to, look at it from the point of view of religion, and you are alive to the literature that influenced voter choices, it is no, no, no. Normally people speak, and I grant them that opportunity simply because they are not abreast with the factors that influence voter choices. The literature places very little prominence on issue of religion and ethnicity. So if you look at Ghana, for instance, the first and foremost consideration for any voter who wants to vote is the economy. So once the economy slips through your fingers, you are going to lose the election. You recall we've done this story many times. The economy followed by infrastructure development, because we're a third world country and we need a lot of infrastructure programs. And then issue of corruption and then unemployment. These are critical indices of free voter choices in this country. So issue of religion, I'm afraid it is not. If anybody did any research of this one, I challenge that research in a sense that let us look at even the primaries that won Bawumia the day. Within MPP, there is a large group of people with Christian dominating that political party. So on what basis would Bawumia win the election if that assertion is true? But he won simply because of other factors, not because he was a Muslim. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gained anything in there. And if you look at even US standard in this country, we have Muslims have voted for Christians. At least for this Fourth Republic, we've seen, apart from Bawumia, who came out as flag bearer for one of the dominant parties, we have seen the two dominant parties led by Christians. And Muslims have voted for either NDC or MPP over the years. So from that argument, the argument becomes a bogus one. But I mean, with all due respect, Mr. Kennedy Japan himself contributed to the defeat also of the NPP. His contribution is also in there. Some of the statement he made during the primaries, the NDC, what they did was to play back. And I can remind the public of what they said. The MPP was looting the state as if there was no tomorrow. The issue of that, you say you are strategic and you move $1, 1 cedi to 4 Ghana cedis to 12. And then the issue of where the middle class also took a decision that, yes, the haircut you have given them, they are going to punish the government. He said that. He said 1D, 1F. He had traveled throughout the country and he have not seen much. All these things became the building blocks of NDC campaign that were used against the government. So his utterances also became some of the things that undermine the fortunes of NPP. There is no doubt about it. But a large chunk of the blame is put on the doorstep of the economy, which the NPP failed to recognize that and failed to what? Admit that. Dr. Bawumia himself running away from the economy when we were in crisis. And that, in addition to infrastructure development, corruption, which also became what? Very, very, very prominent within the NPP, and that they turn a blind eye on that. If you read the Transparency International and all the figures associated with corruption in there, you realize that Mahama was a better man to fight corruption than Nana Akufo-Addo. The records are there. So all these things put together undermine the fortunes of the NPP, but not necessarily. As for the religion and ethnicity, it doesn't come in at all. Because if you extend it even to ethnicity, you realize that any time that another person from any of the minority ethnic groups stands against an Akan, you will lose the election. This contest was a contest between what? Northerners. And if you look at it from dominant, ethnic group perspective, then none of them was supposed to win the election because they all come from minority ethnic group. But it tells you that ethnicity is not a factor. Otherwise, Bawumia wouldn't have also won the primaries within the MPP. So that research, I challenge it. It's not credible.
All right.
Thank you so much. Let's run through the Ghanaian Publisher. On the front page, Mahama calls for national unity. Government lauds GBC's plan to establish refinery. And that's not Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. That's Ghana Bauxite, I think, Commission. And Dr. Boako cautions fiscal monetary authorities over lack of synergy, and minority raise alarm over money laundering. We've dealt with this issue at large. Now, government lauds GBC's plan to establish refinery. Government has commended the management of Ghana Bauxite Company for its decision to build a refinery, a move that will add value to the country's natural resources and contribute to economic growth. Doctor, you were just talking about building capacity for local enterprises and businesses. And I think this one, if for nothing at all, it reduces our dependence on imported alumina for various things. So, yeah, of course, we should laud that. And then WAEC releases 2024 WASSCE results for private candidates. And the release of the results, which constitute the second in the series, saw 17,596 males and 21,131 females registering for the examination. If you fall in that category, you should take note that the results have been released. Now, this is where I want to pause for a while. Education Minister inaugurates committee to end double-track system. We know that is one of the things that the President talked about during the campaign time. Mr. Haruna Idrisu, the Minister for Education, has inaugurated an 11-member committee to work on reversing the double-track system. And the committee will review the 2024-2025 academic calendar and propose a roadmap for the transition with a mandate to realign the West African Senior School Certificate Examination calendar with other West African countries. Let me add just one more story, and then I'll come to you, gentlemen, for your reflections. GJA appoints Elections Committee for 2025 polls, and the National Council of the Ghana Journalists Association has appointed Mr. Peter Mate Agbeku as the chairman of a 3-member elections committee to oversee the conduct of national and regional elections of the association in June 2025. And I'm happy to say that one of our very own is part of that committee. But these are some stories from the Ghanaian Publisher. Doc, let me start with you, Dr. Abedu. Do we have Dr. Abedu with us?
Yes, you have me here.
Okay, Doc.
Yes, I think I wanted to make a brief comment on the funds issue, but
right.
Yes. So the little I want to say on that is briefly, the NPP should take it easy, sit back, reflect, restructure itself, and come back stronger. I know, and we know, there has been a committee which is led by Professor Michael Quay to unearth the issues that went into the election defeat. The NPP ought to let us believe that they believe in structures. And I think it's important that that structure, that committee which has been set, comes out, brings out its result, and then we can take the discussion up from there. But while the committee report is not yet out, and all sort of commentaries all over the place from within, I do not think it helps. It doesn't show that the party even respects the committee that was set up, and it doesn't set a good precedent for the public. It's not good for the public as well. So the party shouldn't wash dirty clothes outside. They should sit internally and address their issues, and then come back and engage the public very well. It will not help them.
Right.
But coming to the WAEC result, and I think I'll connect it with the double track. I'm asking myself really, as I speak now, I'm in the education sector, all right, but I'm even sometimes confused about how the calendar is even running. Now, just recently, those who wrote WASI, some of them had the opportunity to buy a waiting and have been enrolled into the universities. Just a few months away now, we are talking about private exams results out. Now the question is, what time do they go? They are going to wait for another 1 year before they can enroll, or probably few private universities can absorb some of them, because I know some of the private universities run almost like a year-round admission system.
And Doc, I hate to rush you, but we have just about 2 minutes to go, so you have to make it brief for me.
Very well.
Yeah.
So just to connect it to the double track system, I think that it is a good time. We are resetting the economy. It's a good time for us to look at the education sector holistically, our calendar, the streams. Let's look at it all around. I'm happy. The education forum was held recently. Let's get a more permanent, a more sustainable solution to this brouhaha surrounding our education system. What time do students apply? What time do they go to school? If I'm a private candidate, what are the privileges, and how do I fit into the mainstream and all that? Let's just get things right. The double track is the same issue. It's a problem that a lot of parents complain about, a lot of stakeholders in the sector complain about.
Right.
It is the time for us to really review the whole system and then get things right, and so that we stop this up and down thing with the education sector.
Thank you.
It will help us in any way.
I'll give the final minutes to Dr. Kwame Asasante.
I think if we look at the double track, we developed that scheme simply because we had less accommodation for students to do their classes in there. So what government has to do is to fix that problem by building a lot of structures to contain students. That's it. And that will address that problem once and for all. The issue of WAEC and then the private candidate, I don't know, because if you follow WAEC and over the years, the way they've conducted exams, we had private candidate examination in November that is taking, and its results are released around this time. I don't know that is the one we are talking about. But recently, I've also learned that they introduced another one, those who results were just released and they are in level 100 now. Their counterparts who could not make it had opportunity to take the paper one more time. Is that results we are talking about?
No, I think this is NOVDEC, but you go.
The NOVDEC, this is the time normally they release them. And then if you took the NOVDEC exam, then you are preparing yourself a year for admission and all that. But if they can also put them into the mainstream where people can enter the universities or tertiary schools within the shortest possible time, all well and good.
Okay. Right. Thank you so much, Doc. Ben.
As we get ready to go, just leaving you with these stories. Economy Times, Bank of Ghana raises benchmark interest rate to 28%. Government research agenda gets a lift, and then government pivots around pension funds to access capital market. A belated happy birthday to Professor Raymond Atuguba, Dean of the Law School at the University of Ghana. Age well, God bless you, and take care. Those who joined us, Dr. Kwame Asante, head of the Center for European Studies and political scientist at the University of Ghana. And we also had Dr. Clement Abedu, Executive Director, Africa Center for Environment and Sustainability. Both of them joined us. But stick and stay. Up next, we have sports with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. We'll be right back.
Essentially cities and pesos. Each stage tells a story of our nation's journey. On our Ghana Man series today, I'm here at the Artists Alliance Gallery to explore the evolution of our money. What changed? Why? And how has it shaped our economy? Come with me. Money, they say, makes the world go round. But it also tells a story of independence, leadership, and identity. Today, I take a step back in time to explore the people behind our city. I have come to meet Miyodoi Glover. He is the general manager at the Artists Alliance Gallery. He'll be walking me through the evolution of Ghana's currency.
So we have most of the old currencies here, as far as that of the pound to the present stage. Yes. We have that of the pound here. Immediately, we took over from the British. We changed to the Ghana cedi, which has Kwame Nkrumah's head on it.
This is the first cedi.
That is the Kwame Nkrumah cedi. This money was used whilst Kwame Nkrumah was in power.
But Nkrumah's presence on our currency was short-lived. After his overthrow in 1966, his image was removed, reflecting political shifts and historical rewriting.
Immediately he was throned, we stopped using it, and we started moving into other currencies. Yes, we term this money Kwasianity, that's all. So you can understand how, when we overthrew Kwame Nkrumah, how we felt about him. To even describe his head on our money as Kwasianity, that's all.
First president of
the
Ghana.
First president of Ghana.
I thought we loved him so much because of the good things he did.
Yes, we did. But when he was overthrown, most of the stories that was told about him, about Kankan, Nyame, how he was using our children's blood and all those things. So there was that intention of finishing him, destroying him with all that he's done. So I remember when we were young, this money had that description. Hence, we stopped using it. And we have to move on to other currencies.
Ghanaian currency has since become a canvas for honoring national heroes. The 50 pesos coin celebrates Rebecca Nadede Aite, a businesswoman and activist who helped finance Ghana's independence.
She was an entrepreneur. Then she was popularly known for selling flour, for baking bread.
Okay.
Yes, and she was also the #1 sponsor of the CPP party.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yes, so she helped in the fight for the independence. So we have her also here. Very necessary. We can't do away without our women.
Yeah.
Our women are very important in all parts of our life.
Very important.
So Rebecca Nadede Aite. We usually call her Dede Ashikinshan. So yes,
Dede
so Dede flour. So whenever you see this, you know it's Dede flour.
Yeah.
And that is Tete Kwashi. The one we all say he was the first person who brought cocoa down to us. Dosia Kisie. She was the first nest, and she was among one of those who helped that today we have the nursing and the midwifery association.
This
Ephraim Mamu, our popular musician. He was a drummer.
Composer of the national anthem.
Of the national anthem. He was a drummer and he was a flute player also. And that is our popular Ya Santua of the Ashanti region.
Beyond individuals, Ghana's banknotes also highlight national landmarks and industries. The Larabanga Mosque, cocoa farms, and the Akosomodam all appear on different denominations, symbolizing our heritage and economy. A major currency change came in 2007 under President John Kufuor, when the Bank of Ghana restructured the cedi, removing 4 zeros. The 10,000 cedi note became today's 1 cedi.
The 10,000 cedis which we had once used, that's a 10,000 cedis. And that is our cedi today. And just like the same also, our 2 cedis is also the 20,000 which we had once before used. So today when we change our dollar at the rate of 16 cedis, let's remember and don't forget to add the 4 zeros to know what we're actually doing.
Through every redesign, Ghana's currency has remained a reflection of its history, struggles, and triumphs. But one thing remains constant. It is simply the cedi, not the Ghana cedi.
Now, most of the time when we are writing our money, we say Ghana cedi. I wonder which one was the cedi and which one was the Ghana cedi. But it has always been the cedi throughout. So let's all remember to maintain the name cedi and forget about the name Ghana cedi.
But how did the name cedi come about?
We've used a lot of things as money. We've used the shells. We've used the beads. Our present money cedi is the name of a shell.
The cowries.
The cowries.
Cedi. Okay.
And we today use it as our money. Yeah, so that tells you that the cedi was once our money.
So the name cedi comes from the word cedi.
Okay. Yes. Cedi is a shell where we used, and it's still in existence, although it's no more in use.
Now we used to decorate our hair.
Yes, you use it for various things, as necklace and all that. Yes. But they were once very important to us. And then we use beads also as money once.
How were all those things regulated? Because anyone can have a bead.
You need to be of those days to understand.
Wow. From political icons to national landmarks, Ghana's currency carries a legacy beyond its value. The next time you hold a cedi note, take a moment to appreciate the story it tells. My name is Adobia Asari for Joy News, Accra. The Bank of Ghana is changing our
Sanitation, religious issues, chieftaincy. We have the right man in the studio this morning to interact with us. He is the Minister for, yes, you guessed it, local government, chieftaincy, and religious affairs. And he is in the person of Ahmed Ibrahim. He joins me in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
It's good to have you join the conversation this morning. I hope you're well.
It's always a pleasure to be at Joy News, where we started and where we are still.
Where you started and where you are still. Give me a bit of the history. Tell me about what Joy News has done in your life. Maybe this is time for you to give witness in church. Testimony.
Testimony time.
Testimony time.
Let me say a very good morning to our cherished viewers. And this being the very first time I've been here ever since I became the Minister of State. I have to thank the good people of Ghana for electing the president for us, and to thank the president and his wife for giving us the opportunity, for we also catching their eye to be part of his cabinet. It has not been easy to choose 60 out of over 33 million Ghanaians. And therefore, if I'm qualified to play in the Black Star, it's a privilege and honor. And I thank everybody for that. Yeah, you were curious to know why I said where we began. You know, Joy News started with Adum FM in Tema Community 2. And we were staying in Accra. Those days when we came to Parliament in 2009, you needed to wake up very early, go to
make that journey.
Yeah, go to Tema, go and be hosted by Adum FM. And the people in the constituency used to listen to Adum FM very well. Then gradually, they moved here, added the Adum TV then Joy News and the rest. And gradually it has become like the Al Jazeera of our time. And I cannot forget this, because if not Joy News, Adum TV, Adum FM, that gave us the voice. Even though we're in Parliament, broadcasting our voice and broadcasting Parliament would have been very problematic. But since then, it's like we've become like a family. When I see Kwejo Fojo, I see, those days it used to be Kwejo Fojo, Efia Pukia, Adakabref, so Ekoba. So yeah, these were the theme, but gradually they started departing. And some of your people have been faithful up to date. So when we see their flash, we have to honor the call, because you must remember where you started from. Maybe we were many. Mambat, for instance, on our side, we were 46 MPs. We, those who used to be vocal and used to visit the radio, befriended, partner with the media, some of us are still there. And on our side of NDC, my classmates, we are left with only 4. And the 4 of us are some people who are always not shy of the media. So the media is a partner of the politician. A politician cannot do without the media. Even though sometimes there are hiccups and sometimes there are problems if you are too frequent with the media, because people may hear you and misconstrue you. And you need to know how, if you fall, you rise, if you fall, you rise. Other than that, you'll be shy of the media and that will be a doom to you. So Joy News contributed gradually to bringing us, and we are here now. And my constituents always listen to Joy News and Adum TV very well. There are a lot of people who will not tell you that, oh, we saw you in Parliament, but they will say, oh, Mitasho wo bedroom. Mitatio wa Adum FM. Mitatio wa Joy News. And that in itself is like a collateral positivity for us.
A collateral blessing. Well, it's good to know that at least in our own minuscule way, we've helped shape your career, and that we've had a positive impact on where you are.
Not even only where I am. It's like positive impact in Ghana, that you are opening up Ghana. Those days it used to be Radio Ghana, Radio 1. And when there are variety of media houses where people can have a choice, and people can even have their famous broadcasters where they listen to newsmen who they always trust. Like my mother has her journalist. So if I go and I'm telling her, no, if I don't hear it from this place. So she already has, anytime you go to her house, her radio or TV is always tuned to one radio station. And here, so whatever you tell her, if she hears it from the media house, then that becomes the gospel truth. People are glued to individual stations. So you have increased the variety and professionalism, and always charting the pace in the private media. So keep it up.
All the time. But let me just quickly find out, check in briefly. What's the Banda constituency? How is it faring, your constituency?
Oh, clearly there's joy in Bana, because this is the very first time we've gotten a minister. We've never gotten a deputy minister before. Never gotten
a full ministerial portfolio
position before, and never gotten a cabinet minister before. And this is the very first time we've gotten those 3 in 1. And therefore, everybody there is happy. The expectations there are also very high. And you know, it's not going to be a missed opportunity. We are trying to bring everybody on board to make sure that we capitalize on it and get a turnaround for the fortunes of the people there. So Bana, as I will tell you, I created the constituency. It used to be Wenchi West, then came to Tyne, then to Bana. So, and I've been there for the past 17 years. There was no secondary school. I sent secondary school there. Almost all schools, apart from 3 schools, were schools under trades. I helped to eliminate schools under trades.
How did you achieve that feat?
You know, I've been privileged to be a leader in Parliament for the past 13 years.
You were in the 7th Parliament?
I came
the 7th Parliament?
5th.
You came from the 5th?
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, I see.
So this is my 5th term. And therefore, every youth who is below 20 years or 24 years, I've impacted.
They would have felt your impact.
I've impacted in their lives. I've turned around. So most of them don't know Banadem. And that is a credit.
Of course.
And most of them don't know Banadem because those days when I inherited my predecessor, we were the last but one district in the GSS performance, the whole Ghana. And people could not pass JHS and go to SHS. And because there were no adequate classrooms, inadequacy of teachers, inadequacy of classrooms, inadequacy of teacher and learning materials, and the place was, sending a teacher there was like a punishment. There were no teachers as well. You can tell it was the most underprivileged among the Bono Ahafo region, the then Bono Ahafo region. And therefore, whenever a teacher misbehaved, there were two places they could send him. Then that teacher will look sharp.
But now the story has changed.
Exactly. But now government workers go there, and even some don't want to be transferred. It tells you how the opportunities have changed. It used not to be like that. So clearly, if you are talking of the life of Bana, they used not to even qualify to go to SHS. And some do not even have. You know that the bane of Ghana's underdevelopment in certain areas now is Kayai. This Kayai. The social languages, rural urban migration, it used to be very high in Bana. So when I came, I said, no, this thing, I will change it. And I had my own plans and my own strategies in changing it because I targeted it from the source. And by the grace of God, as I speak to you now, the story is different. And once I'm in the national media or national television, I must say it for my colleagues to also hear what I have done differently and to also learn from how to do it. The question is, how did I do it? And
briefly on that point.
When I assumed that office and realized that we were the last but one, out of 138 districts, we were 137. I went to the universities to see our students who were there, brothers who were there, and to tell them the story. And when I went to Cape Coast, UCC, and the whole country, the number of students from the constituency to the tertiary institution were only 12. So you can imagine how deplorable the place was. And I told them, so when you vacate, go there and do vacation classes. Then I came to youth employment and recruited a lot of youth employment teachers, send them to the place, about 322 of them, and shared them among the schools. And they went and taught during vacation, they went and taught the teachers, and they were giving me the problems or the reasons why teachers were not accepting postings there, the reason why the students were not doing well, the reason why there were rural urban migration, advocacy of teachers, lack of poor classrooms. And so I needed to fix them. So if you go there today, you could see that apart from the new schools that we are trying to let government absorb, there is no school under a tree in the constituency or the district now.
There's no school under a tree in the Banda constituency?
Unless it is a new one we are creating, yet to be absorbed. Well, that's you have to create, absorb before government will build.
I see. That's quite a feat, and we hope that it is maintained that way, and that, like you said, now other constituencies can also replicate that.
Exactly. Right. And the SHS too. I started free SHS in 2011 in Ghana. When Ghanaians
this free SHS table you are shaking.
I used the MP Common Fund, MP Get Fund, all the funds that they are giving to MP, then give it to the headmaster, pay everybody's school fees. That's how I used to do it. Right. I started it in 2011, and when the JHS people knew that if I pass, there is MP scholarship or MP free SHS that will go, it increased the morale at the JHS level. And they started doing well. So that's what, and those who did well, then I had to mentor them, make sure that I coach them. Some went to police, some went to immigration. So when they wear the uniform and go to the constituency, the parent who was not interested in taking her child to school will now, school to say until Iabano, and that increased the momentum. So if you go there today, education is now a necessity, and that in itself is my passion.
Like I said, hopefully that is sustained and things don't retrogress.
Sustainability, I don't want to say as long as I'm there. I want it to be a culture
Right.
And there are a lot of youth that I'm training. So when you go there, mentorship is a challenge. But I am trying to make sure that I bring a lot of the youth closer to me.
Kudos to you for that. Let's get into your ministry. I mean, Deputy Minority Chief Whip, and then
I started as Deputy Majority Chief Whip.
Deputy Majority Chief
Whip,
of course. Yes, that is in this current, yes, Deputy Majority Chief Whip.
No, I started in 2013 as Deputy Majority Chief Whip.
Right. Then you came to
Deputy
the minority.
Then Deputy Minority. Now you are. They ended in Deputy Majority.
So you've done what? A switch twice. You've switched twice.
Yes.
So switch from majority to minority, then minority to majority.
Then I jumped to cabinet.
and now you've got that ministerial position, making the Bono area look very good. In fact, your constituency, giving them a minister.
Yeah.
The issue then is, now that you're a minister for local government, chieftaincy, religious affairs, my first stop would be what your vision is for that ministry. Because first off, it's so many things put together. Exactly. And some of these were separate in the past.
Yeah.
What's your vision, and how do you hope to handle this I don't want to call it a burden, but this yoke that has been put around your neck?
To begin with, the president has a vision. And the ministry is an old and a new ministry. And don't forget, that is how it used to be. For a long time, chieftaincy is an agency or department under the Ministry of Local Government. Sanitation also used to be a function under the Ministry of Local Government.
Indeed.
Then culture, all those kind of agencies that are operating the religious affairs, all those, they all used to be under the Ministry of Local Government. Until 2000, around 2005, when President Kufuor created the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. Then in 2017, when the water and sanitation alone was also taken away, and water was taken from works to create one ministry.
Sanitation and water resources.
Water and sanitation and water resources. And when that happens, the ministries begin to do what we call duplication of functions. And they begin to work in silos. Because a function that could properly be done by the local government ministry, sanitation will tell you it is not your function. And that is why sanitation became a problem. A problem because, one, the sanitation ministry did not have presence in every district. But the local government ministry have presence in every district. And that is why sometimes the telepathy was not there, and speaking to a ministry speaking to another ministry was also problematic. So the vision of the president, and which will translate and inform you about the vision of the ministry. Because before the president passed the EI1, the president had a vision. And the president has been an assemblyman before, and he knew how local government used to function when President Mahama was an assemblyman. Now, from assemblyman, he became a member of parliament, a deputy minister, a minister, a vice president, a president, and a former president, back to the presidency. So he knows the problems of the sector and how to reset it. In resetting, all the agents of development in that sector must be brought on the table. It will be like a politician who is saying that we are politicians and therefore we have nothing to do with the media. That means you are going to work and nobody is going to hear what you are going to do, or nobody is going to see what you have been doing. You need to work in partnership. So the vision of the president is to make sure that he brings accountable and responsible governance. How will you do it? One key pillar of our culture and development are the chiefs. Before modern governance, the chiefs were the custodian of our development, our culture, agents of our development, everything. And even when modern governance, colonial masters came, they realized that everything was around the chiefs. And if you remember, that is why they brought what we call indirect rule.
Right.
So the white man himself knew that you could not go about the modern governance or governance other district commissioner, or they used to call them councillors or district commissioners those days. You could not let them do their work without the chiefs. But the people own allegiance to the chiefs. They were aligned to the chiefs. The chiefs were the leaders and agents of transformation and development. And that's how they used to do it. So if the white man himself, who brought governance, realized that this is the way to go, how much more we ourselves. And in our communities, the chiefs could even impose some kind of levies. The chiefs could organize communal labors. And people, the spirit of communalism was there. And the people spoke with one voice. And the chiefs had their council of elders. So where they could meet, and even sometimes form ad hoc committees about certain functions, and certain development. Even initiation of most secondary schools were the initiatives of those chiefs. However, when those initiation of even market were the initiatives of the chiefs. However, when those things get to a certain place, then you bring somebody and say, oh, this man is now the district chief executive. He could impose levies and collect those things. Then the chiefs are now reduced to even sitting there as ceremonial leaders, receiving politicians when they come to their palaces, and pouring libation and all this. Those who were the true development leaders. So the president has identified that there's a problem there. Let's bring back the chiefs on the table. And once you are bringing back the chiefs, you are bringing back a forgotten and neglected pool of resources. But when you say bring back the chiefs to the table, the chiefs they were neglected and marginalized. How were they neglected and marginalized? In the erstwhile administration, there was a ministry for chieftaincy. The Ministry of Chieftaincy's role was to be as an interface between the chiefs and the government. That was the role of the Ministry of Chieftaincy. There was still a nexus. There was still some communication. There was still, there were attempts to resolve some issues as far as chiefs were concerned. No. That also is what reflects under your leadership. There were attempts to do what? I mean, it was a channel. It was a way of engaging the chiefs and also helping resolve their issues. By this particular time, the chiefs are functions from the center to the region to the district. The chiefs are part of it. So whatever. So what you can say is you are deepening. That's what you are deepening, but it's not to say. That's what I said. I said the president wants to deepen responsible and accountable governance. So if it is some resources that are transferred from the center to the district, the chief will know. I had a DC who, when even his party people met him, also Sikamai. But this time, the chiefs will know. If money comes, they will know. If money doesn't come, they know. And the bane of Ghana's underdevelopment is lack of information and lack of accountability. So this time is not just responsible and accountable. Responsible, accountable, and transparent governance. Well, the pastors are there, and every DC is a member of a church. Either a member of a church or a member of a faith, either a Muslim, a Christian, a traditionalist. If you are a traditionalist, the chiefs are there. If you are a Christian, the religious leaders are there. If you are a Christian, the Muslim, the imams are there. So when president comes with certain resources are transferred from the center to you, and the president has categorically stated, I'm bringing 80% of this resource, DACF, to you. I'm giving you the power to be able to be responsible for property, collection of property rate and all those kind of things. Brother. And your chief is aware. And the Minister for Finance has assured that this money will go on quarterly basis. My brother, who can hide which information? So now, they are beyond the transparency, beyond the responsible governance, there is accountable governance. And from time to time, even as I'm speaking to you from next week, you see my good self moving from region to region, district to district. So whatever resource is sent, we'll use the media to let everybody know. The people must know the president's performance. So transparency. That one is going to be our hallmark. But if you look at President Mohammed's eyes, his eyes are deeply on transparency and accountability. And that's why we, the ministers, we are always being warned and always being cautioned. And we must translate the president's vision to the people. So the vision of forming this tripartite ministry, chiefs and religious affairs, sanitation, and district assembly officials, is to make sure everybody that matter in the district is brought on table for development. And though the reset agenda is all hands on deck, and that is the core pillar of the district.
So consolidation. You are consolidating. Streamline how work is done. That's what you're saying.
That is part of it, but that is not the only thing. You're working in silos. It's duplicity of resources and waste of resources.
All right.
You understand that?
Right. But let me just quickly get into this as well. Since you started hard on the front of chiefs, there are also chieftaincy disputes sprinkled, across the nation, from Nkwanta and its own issues that it has had to Boku and others. What is your plan in terms of dealing with these issues?
The plan is number one, to depoliticize the chieftaincy front.
To depoliticize the chieftaincy front?
Yes, because there is excessive politicization of the chieftaincy front. And
who created that?
Right from the days of Nkrumah. Have you read about when Nkrumah said the chiefs will run and leave their
sandals?
But that was, you and I, by that time, we were not born. And that was the bane of our, if you read about chieftaincy very well, I was privileged to read political science and to read about chieftaincy. So I read about chieftaincy very well. If you go deep back into the history of our chieftaincy system, they used to be revered as our pastors. Their problem started when they started collecting taxes and levies, and accountability became an issue. Then they started losing some of their respect. Then the indirect rule coupled with this so that the chiefs could be given certain things. That's how they started losing some of their respect. But that could not erode their total acceptability and respectability. But gradually, when the functions were taken away from them, the chiefs were the custodians of the land and everything. But the law says that every mineral, the land is for you, but any mineral under beneath the land is not for you. That is for the president. Is that not the case?
The president has to oversee that in the interest.
Exactly. So it's like the chiefs more or less have lost some of the power and those kind of things. But much attention from the days of they will run away and leave their sandals had not sat well with our chieftaincy institutions. So from there, gradually, their glory started eroding, and the politicians always started pushing.
But let me just say this. I'm a student of politics as well. Even before Nkrumah said the bit about they'll run away and leave their sandals, it had been seen that a number of chiefs were politically active, so to speak, which also precipitated some of what happened.
You are right.
Let's come back.
That's why the Constitution says that our chiefs should not do active
partisan politics.
It's because of the experience from those activities. So even the Constitution recognizes that bringing the chiefs into active partisan politics could let the chiefs lose the glory that they are. And the chiefs are the anchor of our social fabric. If you lose your chieftaincy, and that's why Ghanaians are sometimes passionate and emotional when it comes to chieftaincy issues. So it's a resource that can be used in a positive way. And that is why the president saw the need that, no, let's bring back the chief on the table of development. So right from the traditional, paramount council, traditional council of the paramountcy, then to the regional houses of chiefs, to the national houses of chiefs. Even the Constitution recognized their inclusion in certain government.
Mr. Ibrahim, you're making very valid points, but I just want to go back to my question briefly. I asked why this politicization had come to the fore, for which reason you are saying we have to depoliticize. Let me reframe it. To what extent have politicians in this Fourth Republic contributed to chiefs becoming as political as they are seen to be now?
Both parties are guilty of that, and you and I know that this is true. And it has gotten to the equilibrium, whereby if care is not taken, it can only break our social fabric. And that is why the president said, in resetting, let's bring them back. Can you imagine if you go to a district, and the district assembly, the chairperson of the district assembly is the DISEC, and DISEC meet, and district assembly meet, and they realize that chieftaincy is a problem there. And the chiefs, the imams, and the government officials who are the opinion leaders are that grassroots level. And brother, can't you think that they can even think, they can match, knowing very well the truth from those underpinnings? They can meet and find a way of bringing some kind of arbitration or negotiations to be able to solve some of those problems. Without it coming to the center, where we those who are always going to solve those problems, we have to listen to them and sometimes take certain positions that may be misinformed by, or we may be misled, but what we don't know from the grounds. Don't you think that is possible that way? So it's better every local council, every traditional council, headed by the district assembly, with the inclusion of the faith-based organizations and traditional authorities, will be able to solve and identify their problems and solve them better. Because sometimes,
decentralizing the problem.
Sometimes the Supreme Court can give finality, but enforcement and compliance becomes problem. But sometimes, when you are able to bring arbitration, negotiation, dispute resolution, that kind of thing can be handled at the paramountcy level or at the local level. So this one will help reduce most of the disputes that we are talking of if we are able to handle it well. So how are we going to do it?
Go ahead.
In doing it, we've recognized the challenges of the chieftaincy ministry as a whole. One, their lawyers don't have proper conditions of service, and therefore they are not interested in working there. Sometimes they compare themselves. You know, every regional house or chief has a council who assists in the judicial committees of those things. And the judicial committee members themselves are not lawyers, but they are assisted by a lawyer. The judicial committee members are chiefs because they deal with customary laws and those things. Sometimes they are bullied. But the lawyers in every region who is to assist them in all the 16 regions, their conditions of service cannot be compared with their colleagues in the Attorney General. So how we are doing it is, I'm talking to my brother, the Attorney General. Can you bring us some of the lawyers on secondment so that they will have conditions of service equivalent to their colleagues in the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General? If that is the case, it will help attract some of those lawyers, a number of lawyers, into the Ministry of Chieftaincy, Local Government Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. And that may help in the proper adjudication of cases. Then second one, the judicial committees sometimes are not able to sit because of allowances to pay their committee members. So when they sit in some of the cases for non-payment of those allowances and lack of appreciable allowances, they will adjourn the case to such a long period of time that it may prolong. By the time they finish one case, about 3 new chieftaincy dispute cases have been added. So these are some of the challenges. And how are we doing that? We are trying to find a way of making sure that we are able to enhance the conditions of service of not only the lawyers. We are able to let them be on secondment to enjoy those conditions of service.
Right.
Then we must be able to facilitate the judicial committees on targeted basis. Maybe if you go to some of the regions, like, I don't want to mention because it may be some kind of stigma, but some regions had a high number of chieftaincy dispute cases than others. So we may have to target and find a way of solving them.
So speaking of this targeting, just to streamline the conversation, the President, John Mahama's first visit after his inauguration on January the 7th, around January the 14th, he went to Boku. I just want us to focus on Boku for a bit. What's the plan? What's the plan to resolve this age-old problem? What's the plan?
Boku issue, knowing the stage where they have reached, but some powerful big men have been consulted by the president to handle it. And therefore, as a minister, until they finish and bring those fundings, I cannot be, because I'm privileged to know some of those information, and I cannot be bringing them out. Let the committee does it work. And I know people are even sacrificing voluntarily. The Otumfo, I don't even have to go further and mention it. They are all incurring their personal expenditure supported by the president and all those things in finding solutions. In fact, critical work is going on. And therefore, it should not be part of our discussions in making sure that we bring it on board. Especially me, who is privileged to some of those facts. How can this man is doing this man is doing this? It will let the kind of negotiations and arbitration.
I understand where you're coming from, but just to wrap on the chieftaincy institution, two things. What is your view in terms of chiefs as agents of development? I'm intentionally crafting it that way. That is the first one. And secondly, how can we harness the power of chiefs in the fight against Galamsey? So two questions.
Yeah, chiefs as agent of development, they used to be our agents of development, and we've come far because of them, and they've become, sometimes they've been neglected and we are bringing them back. One, a district chief executive will go, Nana, it's better, we can't sit here waiting for government to President or Accra to come and do something. Can't we find a way of organizing communal labor to go and dig some pit latrine, excuse me for that word, to be able to stop open defecation and those kind of. There is a lot we can do with that money. But now the mindset is that everything is all about money. So the chiefs as agents of development will bring the inner drive of that chieftaincy institution to be able to propel and partner with the government officials to spearhead development. There's a lot they can do. Initiation of community projects, rejuvenation of communal labor and community spirit, the enhancement of social
work. Cleanliness. There's this
sanitation.
I've forgotten the name. Oftentimes, Captain Prince Amwabeng retired would bring it up. It's claimed it seemed to be the cleanest town in Ghana.
Is it Kushia?
Kushia.
Kushia is one. There are three.
Yes.
Kushia is one.
Yeah.
Dumasia in the Bruno region is two. And Doma Inkru is the most neatest.
I mean, there's a lot of talk about
because
it. The
paramount chief himself is the international ambassador to sanitation. And he has his own sanitation bylaw. And he's a judge. And those bylaws are enforced. And he has a task force in doing that. So we've learned from these three experiences, and we are going to capitalize on that. And there's a task force working on that.
I see. Okay. So on the bit about chiefs aiding in the fight against Galamsey, just
in the fight against
how
Galamsey,
you're going to
the chief have been disempowered. How can you disempower a policeman and be criticizing him for allowing crime to increase?
But they are custodians of the land.
They are custodians of the land but their power has been taken. You know, the day the Supreme Court ruled that Section 63D should be stricken out or should be revisited, and that no chief has the power. If a chief summons you to his palace and you don't go, you haven't committed any crime. That is where the problem starts. So the chiefs are saying that if you give us this power in our jurisdiction, see something, say something, we'll add, do something. If you see something, say something, and so what? See something, say something, do something. The active part of the see something, say something is the doing part. So give us that power. If we sit in our palaces and somebody guarantees invade our jurisdictional areas, we can summon them to the palace. If they refuse to come, we'll find a way of doing it. Then a crime has been what? Committed. So the chiefs are sometimes being blacklisted, blackmailed. Oh, chiefs are even part of the Galamsey, and because of that, most of them are here. But the chiefs are not at Accra. You sit in your jurisdiction, and a powerful man bring a paper that, look, I have been sent from Accra, I've been given concession in your land to come and, man, brother, how can you embark upon the verification and all those kind of things? Tomorrow you send people to call and you say, well, I won't come. I'm doing prospecting, but before prospecting, you know that the man brought letter that is going to do prospection, but it is not prospection that he's doing. He is doing mining. So the chiefs must be empowered and their power must be strengthened to partner government in the fight against Galamsey. Then when you give them the power and those actions are going on, then the chiefs themselves, the paramount chiefs themselves can now be blamed or can now be, I don't want to use the word.
They can bear some responsibility.
Exactly.
And even when the chiefs have tried to help, I know there's, is it Jema? There's an area where a chief, a reverend father, and a chief have been able to stand their ground against Galamsey. Even when the chief has health issues and they were trying to tell him, we'll pay for your medical trip to South Africa and all of that, which is good. But in recent times, we've also heard of an incident where there was some illegal mining going on, and the chief, together with some others in the community, tried to stop them, seized some excavators, and the minister gave a call, that the regional minister, I'm sure you followed that story. If we engage in these actions,
which region was that?
I'll just get clarity. I don't know whether it's the Western region, my backroom staff, trying to remember exactly. But the call came. And I know Erastus.
Maybe somebody might have called self-starting in South Africa.
It goes against the grain of exactly what you are saying, doesn't it? If you're trying to empower the chiefs and then you have members of your administration acting like this, what does it point to?
And you think that it's unfortunate you cannot remember the name of them.
I will get it for you. Don't
worry. Maybe it was a self-styled regional minister, but not a substantive regional minister. Because if that is the case, if I heard it as a local government minister, I could have called the regional minister for interrogation as well. It's my duty. So by the time I leave here, let me have the name. And even the mere fact that you've been told that is the regional minister doesn't substantiate the issue that he was the one who truly called the people that, look,
he said he had not been informed.
He has not been informed by who?
That this action was going to take place.
Oh, but sometimes the regional minister the regional minister is the head of RISEC. Is that not the case?
He is.
So maybe, but if you are to go that way, that a regional chairman of Regional Security Council, something of that action of that nature is happening, without the regional minister being informed, my brother, can't you think that terrorists can come to this country and they may become, and the Regional Security Council chairperson may not be aware, and he cannot sit down for such action to be going on? Much as we want to go and do certain action in certain jurisdiction, I think that respect must be given. Even if you don't trust them, thinking that if I tell the regional minister, he will tell them before we get there, they bolt away. He's still the regional minister and the chairperson of the regional security. If we don't work together, do you think we can get results?
All right, let's get into the issue of local governance as well. And it's a vast area. You have sanitation in there. You have the assemblies in there. There's so much work to be done, which is why some people are also looking at it and saying 3 in 1. How easy
in actual fact, it's 2.5 plus. It's
2.5.
The sanitation and the water and the works is going to Western House.
Okay, you're right.
It's only sanitation that
has come under you. But at least it's still sanitation. And it's if you look at the problem of sanitation in Ghana.
Sanitation used to be a local government issue. That's where it used to be. And they used to perform it very well. So I know that it's going to increase our hygiene situation in the country.
But in terms of dealing with sanitation, you do remember the promise that was made by the erstwhile president to make Accra the cleanest city.
The erstwhile president is no more there. Tell about the vision.
But I'm sure it's something that you will aspire to, that this administration will also aspire to make Accra and maybe generally the country.
You see,
from the Kushia example to the other places you mentioned. I'm sure you would want to
we've gone far with sometimes I'm an action man. I do a lot without talking.
I see.
If I hadn't told you that I started free SHS in Ghana, will you believe that? Did you know about that? You didn't.
It's not about the you started in your
my district,
right? Your district,
exactly, in 2011. But that's why I kept on winning.
And if we are speaking of free SHS on the national scale, we would mention Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
But even
if you are talking of your district, you can mention Ahmed Ibrahim.
Exactly. But I'm telling you that I piloted it in Ghana.
Okay. Right.
In 2011, between 2011 to 2015. You understand? So I'm telling you that, but my interest was to change a situation, which I did. And my interest was to get the goods, which I did. And changing the situation and getting the goods translated into my electoral fortunes, which also happened. So sometimes it is not enough about working. You know that when you wanted to mention Asenkusha, you couldn't remember. I reminded you. And I added 2 more. And I told you what they have done right.
It is one thing knowing and one thing doing.
No, but we were mentioning best practices so that you learn from them. And that is how development should be. Development is contagious. When somebody is doing something positive, is one thing knowing about it. Secondly, how is he doing it? And thirdly, how can I also copy it? So we learn from those kind of people.
All right, so let me just go back to this issue very quickly, because I see someone commenting as well saying it's a regional chairman. You remember the issue I mentioned about the regional minister? Right, so I have the story now, and he is saying it's a regional chairman.
So it is not the regional minister?
No, it is. No, I'm not saying that. There's someone commenting saying it was the regional chairman. It is the minister. So the story, so it's the Tano Area forest. And Forestry Commission officers, went there. There were some indigents trying to, stem the tide of the situation. The operation began. Armed policemen from the Enchi District and Divisional Police Commands entered the forest to confront the team.
From where?
Which was made up of soldiers and the Forestry Commission's Rapid Response Team. I don't know which division.
Armed policemen from...
And the Forestry Commission's Rapid Response Team. The point I want to highlight is that per the report we have, the Western North Regional Minister drove to the forest and instructed the task force to stop moving the seized equipment out of the forest, claiming he had not been informed of the operation. That was what I was mentioning earlier. So now you have your confirmation.
No problem. Western North Regional Minister.
Yes.
And I'll have to go, and when I get to the office, I will call him for further and better practice.
Now you can proceed.
Until then, I will not proceed on.
Good. But at least you asked me to confirm that.
I just needed the facts.
I've confirmed that.
Now that I have them, then it means I'll have to invite the Western North Regional Minister.
So you'll be interacting with the Western North Regional?
I must.
Okay.
You see, until I knew the name, I was defending him by saying that as head of Regional Security Committee, any action that you take there concerning security must be in the know. Much as we want to fight Galamsey, we must also prevent terrorism.
Right.
And terrorism, minerals attract terrorists. So some of all those actions, we need to work together. And that is what I said in the beginning.
All right. So now that we've got that out of the way, back on the local government situation. So in terms of sanitation, like I said, we all want better sanitation. Some of the diseases that crop up from time to time stem from poor sanitation practices. What is the plan for Accra? What is the plan for Ghana generally?
In the first place, we started solving our sanitation issues from the days of President Kufuor. And that is where the Zoom Lion district, decentralized Zoom Lion issues started. Then a number of sanitation players also came on board. Then in the days of President Mills, when he also took the mantle from President Kufuor, he also continued prioritizing sanitation. So the Zoom Lion people cleaning, the sand gas cleaning, all those things were in place. Then after that, President Mahama also continued. Then he introduced what we call the National Sanitation Day, which is practiced in most parts of Africa. If you go to Nigeria, go to where they all practice it. And that's where emergency evacuation is carried on. That's where, then we move gradually, by the 2016 that we left power, we continue from the National Sanitation Day, and we were doing waste recycling. So we have waste recycling plant, integrated waste recycling plant, because it was not enough to be cleaning and dumping. So we moved from cleaning, evacuation to recycling. And that is why these days, when you are going around Accra, you don't see most of this plastic waste littered around, because people are even gathering them and selling, and people have, private participation has brought about establishment of factories to recycle those waste plastic into usable furniture, usable plastic for use and those. So as a country, right from the days of 2004, we have come far up to where we are now. However, with the change of government, the National Sanitation Day was also thrown out, because the policy was not backed by legislation. It was a vision of President Mahama and the former Minister for Local Government, who was Honorable Julius Tebra, the current Chief of Staff. So because of that, by the time because we threw the Sanitation Day away, and we could not, the government could also not pay the staff of Zoom Lion workers and all those things for about 2 years. So there was apathy and cleanliness, sweeping, all those things. Most of the functions were not properly done. So by 24th October 2024, Ghana was hit by cholera. About 581 people were affected. 58 districts they all got cholera. About 49 lives were lost. So in the prior to the 2024 campaign, President Mahama manifesto included the reintroduction of the National Sanitation Day.
So have you learned anything? Are you going to legislate on it this time?
We will start it and legislate to back it. That's the plan. So there's a task force. It was supposed to be launched today. However, the president gave a directive that we have to do it right. We must partner with the media, partner with the chiefs, partner with the faith-based organizations, the mosques and the palaces, the imams, the churches. Make sure that we trumpet it for people to see the need to get involved in the fight against sanitation. Because the 49 people who lost their lives, brother, as sitting here as NDC man, I don't know their political colors. I don't know how many NDC people died, and I don't know how many MPP people died. But it is about Ghana. 49
Illness knows no political color.
That's it. And the 58 districts were not party offices. The 58 districts are in 58 homes and electoral areas. And the 581 people affected by cholera from the last year to this year, my brother, you cannot imagine. So fight against the poor sanitation is a collective responsibility, and it's a shared responsibility. That is why in the NDC manifesto, we said, let's reintroduce it. In the reintroduction, don't let us make it a partisan way. Use the chiefs, use the imams, use the pastors, and use the media, because there must be behavioral change. And if you want to bring a mental shift or some kind of behavioral change, the media is the best person to do that. How are you going to bring the media on board? So we are working with the media coalition to make sure that the print media will come on board. GIBA, the Independent Broadcasters Association, will also come on board. Then the social media, the bloggers, all of you, we are bringing all of you. The Ghana Journalists Association, we are bringing all of you on board. Let's all of us meet together. My brother, there is much you know that I might not know, because sitting here, a number of sanitation ministers have appeared before you. There were certain things they said that couldn't happen. There were certain good things that they wanted to do that they couldn't do. So if we bring you on board and we all come together to think Ghanaian, you will be able to profess certain solutions that will lead to the behavioral change. Because there must be change in behavior. And when you go to people said, let's include sanitation in our academic listen. Yes, if you go to primary school, to JHS, to SHS, poor sanitation is a topic that is treated in our schools. Do we practice it? In our days, we used to sweep our school compounds. So we used to practice sanitation. We're not learning sanitation. We used to practice it.
Things have changed now.
Things have changed.
Right.
So we need to come on the drawing board, share ideas about how best this thing can be done. So we are no more launching it today, which was supposed to be the 2nd of January. But we are launching it next month. And the actual National Sanitation Day is going to be on 3rd May. As for 3rd May, by that time, the district chief executives will be at post. So that when you launch it from Accra, the president will launch it in Accra, and we'll be cleaning Accra with the Greater Accra Regional Minister. Ashanti Regional Minister and the DCs and the pastors and the chiefs will be doing Ashanti Region. Bunu Regional Minister will be doing with the district chief executives in Bunu Region. Northern Region, every regional capital, district capital, every district DCE will be on board. So the mere fact that we want to let the sanitation, a groundbreaking National Sanitation Day, where there will also be a sanitation league. There will be a National Sanitation League as part of our priority.
National Sanitation League.
Just how we have the Ghana Premier League. We are also going to have a National Sanitation League where districts will be rated.
What's the plan for that? When will that be brought to bear?
Yeah, once we start it on the 3rd of May, 3rd May, the cleanest district, the cleanest region. The cleanest district, the cleanest region. In fact, I never knew we have sanitation experts in our academia like that. There are a number of academia, pastors, chiefs, who will be used to form a team, and they will be doing. We want to do it in a non-partisan way. Where if they say you are last, you are last. I, as a minister, should not be on that committee, but I will be the platform who will be monitoring.
Okay.
So when we do that, there will be offenses and sanctions. So if you're a DCE, if you're a regional minister, and your region is always last, you know that there are consequences. If you're a district chief executive, metropolitan mayor, and your area of jurisdiction is last, you should know that there are consequences. So these are some of the things that we are doing.
The assemblies are crucial. So the district assemblies, common fund, and all of that has come into the fray. There have been, concerns raised time and again. The president has spoken to some of the issues in recent times. What is the plan? We also know of the assemblies, and stipends that will be given to the assemblymen and women. I want you to dilate briefly on that, even as we also look at the appointments to the districts and municipalities.
The president promised prior to the 2024 campaign that he will give allowances to assembly members. And therefore, in the 2025 budget, the president
allocations have been made.
Has allocated 100 million Ghana cedis for that. We have 606,272 as elected assembly members and 2,813 appointed assembly members. So all this together is 9,080. So all those 9,080 assembly members are going to be given 1,000 Ghana cedis a month, and it will be paid on quarterly basis. So in 2025, we are going to disburse at least 81.7 million Ghana cedis to the assembly members as allowances, and it will be paid on quarterly basis.
81.7 million.
81.7 out of the 100 million. Then in 2026, it will move to 116. In 2027, it will move to 124 million. And in 2028, it will be 131 million. So there are projections and there are plans to pay it for the 4 years, so that it is not just going to be an event in 2025.
Will you be able to raise the kind of money needed to sustain this?
The finance minister brought the income and expenditure statement estimates, and that is the budget.
All right. Just on the DCE appointments, recently there was some talk about it. The president came out and made mention of some nominees that had been put out. Of course, at the district level, they would then have to be go through the processes, the voting processes. But there still remain others. When are we going to get the full complement of the appointees or the nominees?
In fact, the president brought out 8 regions. As I speak to you, 5 regions are also ready, making 13. By next week, the remaining 3 will come, and then we are done with that. So 5 regions will come out this week. Then the remaining 3 regions will come out next week. Then we are done.
So 2 weeks from now,
this week
we should have. No, I mean with the 5 and the 3.
Oh, 2 weeks
in about a fortnight, we should be done.
We should be done. Even today, it was like Ashanti region. They are almost done with Ashanti region. So actual vetting this week and next week in Greater Accra and Eastern region, then they are done.
A quick question related to that. So in terms of your budget, you got an allocation of about 4 billion Ghana cedis. Does that suffice for your ministry, local government, chieftaincy, religious affairs to handle all of these matters you're talking about, 4 billion Ghana cedis?
Yeah, there is a problem as a country. You know, we inherited a lot of debt. And that debt, in the sanitation aspect alone, we inherited a debt of 1.2 billion Ghana cedis. However, in energy sector alone, we inherited a debt of about 68 million Ghana cedis. Then, Anakoko board, the same thing, rules the same thing. So we had a challenge of how do we fix these problems. And the Minister for Finance said, Ahmed, you only have 1.2 billion on sanitation. And you are crying. I will take that your 1.2 billion debt. But because we don't want to go back to doing so, allow me to use the sanitation and pollution levy to be merged with the energy sector levy, to use it to be able to hold the 67 billion energy sector. But my brother, you could see what is happening in the ECG meters and those things happen at the port. But thank God, yeah, they are retrieving some. But I don't know after the retrieval how many of them they are going to retrieve and how the debt is going to go down. So we inherited a challenge where that's where the Minister for Finance and the President said, President Mahama said, the economy was criminally manded. It is handled. So if you go to our budget, in fact, our estimation to be able to do all those works was 7.6 billion. However, because of the challenge that we face, we were given 4,044,356,455 Ghana cedis. So we are down with about 3.6 billion. But I know that we were not going to spend all the 7.6 billion before July. I know government had just come. There will be the need for a media
budget review. Depending
on how we are able to judiciously spend this one, how we are able to help. The National Sanitation Day, for instance, we budgeted for 30 million Ghana cedis for the 9 months. But we're giving 5 million Ghana cedis for the 9 months. But that doesn't mean we should not do it. So because of that, we are calling on private sector participation. And gradually, the private sector is coming in. We have a company like Jospon Group of Companies, they help. Environmental service providers, they are also saying that they will bring their compactors. All that they need us to do is we should give them fuel. On that day, they will bring their compactors to do the evacuation. The arrangement of the venue, Jospon Group of Companies is also helping. Then the fuel that they are talking of, the communication, Zonda Group of Companies, in fact, a number of them are also showing interest. But we want to list all those people. Then we partner you so that how much we are getting from who, we'll let you know, so that you also appreciate it. Then we must make sure that we set an agenda about the behavioral change. It's not everything that is money. The advert that we are going to do on all those things, the media must also come on board so that we see how best we can help fight this. Because when COVID came, we knew and we saw the role that you played, sacrificing your life, sacrificing your time, sacrificing your resources, and you created segments for advert on how best we can help fight COVID, how we can wash our hands, use of the Veronica bucket, how every organization should have all those things. But I look as if all of a sudden we forgot. If we could fight cholera as a country, why couldn't we fight? We could fight COVID as a country. Why couldn't we fight cholera? It's because all of a sudden we went back into our shells and we forget about it. So, my good brother, you have a role to play.
We all do. I just have a final batch of questions for you in the next few minutes, and we'll be out of here. One of them, though, just touching briefly. We've spoken extensively about chieftaincy and local government. How about the religious affairs angle to your portfolio? What's the plan?
The president has also instructed us to constitute a task force on both religions, chieftains, medicine, Christian religion, and the Muslim religion, because these are the two biggest religions we have in the country. And the task force in those two areas are going to be serving as interface. One, they will be able to help to form what we call National Muslim Prayer and Thanksgiving Task Force and National Christian Prayer and Thanksgiving Task Force. And we want to bring deepen what we call religious cohabitation. And we want to depoliticize most of those issues. So that mantle will be given to them. They are going to be the interface to form all those things, devoid of political colorization. Then they will be able to organize those things. The president has also said that we should institute a national prayer and Thanksgiving day, whereby it will be like we are all interdenominations. The Friday will be for Muslims, Saturday will be for SDA, then Sunday will be for the other Christians who worship on Sunday. So these are some of the things that we are doing. But you saw how the National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service was organized in the International Conference Center. We've already had two. We had the one in the Southern Belt at Accra International Conference Center. Then we had the one on the Middle Belt and the Northern Belt in the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. And gradually the pastors and the chiefs are very happy. And they are trying to come on board.
As we talk religion and pastors and chiefs and all of that, there's this, just confirm for me whether you did make this statement. I have met with the stakeholders of the National Cathedral, and we are going to continue the National Cathedral project. We'll speak up when anyone tries to muddy the project with lies and propaganda. We won't keep quiet this time. Is that you? Did you say that?
Look at my face. Do I speak that way?
No, I'm just asking you.
No, I'm asking you a simple question. Do I speak that way?
I'm asking you a pointed question. Did you say this or not? Did you say that or not?
No, I didn't. Clearly speaking, I was very hurt when I saw it. But I'm the type, I'm always, you cannot gag me in the media. And that's why ministers shy away from coming to the media. But I was groomed by the media and I will never run. I came to Adum FM yesterday, Adum TV yesterday. By the time the video, so I went for the video and sent it to the powers that be. Listen to the entire video. This is what I said at Adum. So why should somebody misconstrue me? And you know, sitting at the seat that I sit, there are a lot of competitors who wouldn't wish that I'm here. So if I come, and if it had come from Adum TV, that they said that this is what I'm...
Which it did not. Ghana Today that is cited.
Exactly. So if it had been that, I would have been a bit worried. I went there, we are helping each other. So how can you bring me to crucify me? Knowing very well that I didn't say this. Then the person who...
But what then also should be the reaction sometimes when people...
No. If you say we are going to do this, we are going to do this, you say I don't speak this way. But clearly, this person came out at Adum. I was asked as to what is the plans are with the National Cathedral. And I said, the president has instructed me to meet with the cathedral secretary, the clergy. Because the clergy, they wrote that they wanted to meet the president. The president said, cathedral now is under the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. So he referred that letter to me, and I met them. I met them and listened to them. And my brother, you see, when you are a leader and you are dealing with situations, until you draw conclusions, don't preempt the discussions. So when I was asked, I said, yes, this thing that cathedral that you are talking of, the president has instructed me to meet with the cathedral secretariat, and I have done that. Professor Opokunyena, Reverend Opune Frimpong, Joyce Ayi, all of them, the Methodist bishop, all of them, they came. And we sat down, they came with presentations. We sat down and said, look, the cathedral, let's all of us handle it with care. Because one, it's also a national security issue. If you can't just give somebody a bad name when you have not listened to him. And that's why the president said we should listen to them. And when they came, they said, within the interrogation, they said they have constructed Deloitte group of companies, which is an internationally acclaimed auditing group, to audit everything about the cathedral. So that audit is ongoing.
Okay, all right.
And they are yet to conclude their findings. And I said, that will be good news. I'm waiting for that audit to come because we also have done a lot of research in this area. Before you call such people, you must also do your research. And there is much that Ghanaians need to know. So until that is done.
In a nutshell, you want to wait till the report is out.
The report will be...
And this was a misrepresentation of
exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
That's my final point.
I ended the statement by saying that, so until the report is out and we finish the discussions, how do you expect me to comment on this? So I will not comment. All right. That was my presentation. As
an MP, I just want to find out the bit about the 55.2 million allocated to constituencies, 200,000 each to fund education at the constituency level. It has been increased from 150,000. But then we find out that constituencies are supposed to receive this on the back of education-related matters, but members of parliament are getting 150,000 Ghana cedis to monitor, to supervise
every
the project.
Every month.
You are getting 150,000.
No, I'm asking you every month.
To monitor this project. Does it have to be monthly?
That's what I'm asking you.
No, but does it have to be monthly?
Okay, it means you don't know, then I'll tell you it's not every month. No, it's every year.
No, no one is saying that it's every month. No one has said that it's every month. The 200,000 Ghana cedis.
Let me come to...
No, let me
no, I'm coming to...
You are getting 200,000.
You know, I don't run away from questions.
Okay, you go ahead
then. My good brother, the problem is this. You see, when Parliament started, there was nothing like MP's common fund. There was nothing like this amount that you are saying. MPs were not given cars. MPs were not given houses. So 2 MPs could come together to buy a second-hand Toyota Camry. 2 MPs who. This is how Parliament started in 4th.
It is clear things have changed. Let's come to the president.
January,
speak to the
I'm coming there. In January 1993, MPs were doing the work. We will sit from 10 to 2. We're not interested in salaries. And people, you Ghanaians, you could print your T-shirts and come to a party rally without demanding the T-shirts from me. Gradually, we come to a stage. Even going to a party rally, you will pay for your TNT. That's how we started, though. It was a kind of voluntary work. Gradually, we've gotten to a stage. You yourself, you will testify. By the time the MP comes from his room, the place is a market. Certain programs have
that would be that would be the doing partly of the members of Parliament so and where we are. But because of time, I want you to address the question. You are giving these constituencies 200,000 Ghana.
No, it's not 200.
And it's not supervised.
It's not 200.
You just let me land. If it's not 200, you correct me. And to supervise, to monitor, the member of Parliament is getting 150.
I'm giving you.
Why wouldn't we have added a chunk of that money to the 200,000?
The one who put up this information there did not pull the full information. And I'm telling you that even the 200,000 is 250,000. You know I will not hide any facts. It's 250,000 for the project. And the project 250,000 is that maybe 250,000 times 4 years is how much?
That's about $1 million.
It's 1 million. It cannot even build 6 classroom unit. You understand? But maybe there's emergency emergency needy but brilliant students. They shall get fund scholarship. The needy but brilliant students in Tatale, Zabzugu, Napanduri, who may not be able to come to get fund and to apply, may not get it. Then the MP goes there. Then the person said, "Oh, Honorable, I was the first in the district. I wanted to go to university and I don't have money." You are allowed,
those funds will go.
You are allowed to use that part of the 250,000 to because that 250,000 times 4 months, 4 years cannot build 6 unit classroom. One 6 unit classroom is 1.6 million.
Right.
Then you come to the monitoring. The budget is 10.3 billion. That's what we are going to monitor. But you see, Ghanaians, if Ghanaians want to crucify you, they give you a very bad name, like they nearly did to me yesterday. Because man seat, my reserve bench is like the Senegalese team.
Right.
The number of people who want to be here.
Right. Ahmed Ibrahim.
So every day.
This is where we are going.
So you are going to monitor 10.3 billion Ghana cedis.
Right.
It's not only 200,000 though. They are going to use 150,000 to monitor 200,000. Oh, my brother. I pray that one day you come to Parliament.
If you look at the overall figure, you will see what you see. But per constituency, you are spending 150,000 to do this monitoring.
The problem is.
But we have to go. We have to go. I'm sure we'll have more time to exhaust some of these matters. But it's 200,000 we are looking at.
No, it's 250,000.
But thank you.
What was approved was 250,000.
Right.
But the entire budget is 10.3 billion. That's what you are going to monitor.
Okay, right. If you break it down, it still comes down to what we are discussing. Ahmed Ibrahim is Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. He joined us today for an all-encompassing conversation on his work. We wish you the very best. Hopefully all the things you've said about sanitation and all of that will come to bear. Well, we're taking a breather. We'll be back with more action on the AM show shortly. Do stay.
This is still the AM show on Joy News, brought to you by Waylead Properties. And continuing our big stories this morning, we want to look at what's happening in the Ashanti region, because we know 2 have died following the collapse of an illegal mining pit in Pasetia Yaunkwanta in the Echumampunua district of the Ashanti region. And community members are still on a frantic effort to rescue others believed to be still trapped in that pit. And it's raising question of how much more the nation can really contain these existential threats with this ravaging spree. And want to get the latest details on this, Nanaya Ojima, our multimedia journalist, is on ground and joins me via phone. Nanaya, thanks for joining the conversation. Any new information come to light yet?
So yesterday, the community members who were in search for the 3 people who are believed to have been trapped in there had to end their search at a point. This morning, the information I have is that they've resumed, and with pickaxes, holes, and other simple tools, they are making efforts to get these people who they are believed to be trapped in there. And the information that we have is that yesterday 2 people were able to retrieve 2 people, and these 2 people have all died. And one of the 2 people who were retrieved from the scene or from the site have been identified as a resident of Mpasetia, and the other is yet to be identified. So the information is that this is a mine pit that has existed for some time now. According to the assembly member, he called on the assembly for support to help seal some of these mining pits. But unfortunately, the assembly couldn't help him. And he believes that if the assembly had come in or stepped in earlier, they would have been able to contain some of these incidents. As we know, ever since this government took over, community mining has been halted. There used to be community mining in here or within this area. It was halted. Now people are mining anywhere. According to the information that we've been able to gather within the community, this land existed. The people went to the owner of the land, and he has given it out for these people to mine illegally. So after the day's activity, they bring some of the money that they are able to get from the activity to the landowner. And because of the kind of operations that are being done here, the people mine without any safety regulation being put in place. And this is what led to the collapse of this mining pit, leading to the death of 2 people. And it's believed that about 3 people are still missing in this mining pit here at Mpasetia. This morning, as I said, the townsfolk have commenced their search for the 3 people they believe are still trapped in this mining pit.
Nanaya, I want to get some more clarity on this. You said they're using simple tools to dig out the remaining 3 people. Have you had any interaction with NADMO or other state authorities to come to their aid? You mentioned the assembly member said something, but I want clarity on that.
So when you consider the mining that they do here, this is not the widespread mining that we see everywhere, where the excavators are deployed to, excavate the land and the gold ore is washed for the mineral itself. In this area, they use simple tools like pickers and hoes to dig these pits, which go deep into the bellies of the earth. Now they descend through these holes and go deep into the bellies of the earth. So they find the gold ore, which they take out and wash for the gold. Since this pit caved in, the people who are trying to help excavate the sand and retrieve these people they believe are trapped in there are using these same simple tools that they use in digging the gold out for this purpose. Now, the police came in yesterday, and when they came, the people had been able to retrieve the people who died, or the 2 people. They had been able to retrieve the 2 people. So the police helped convey these people to the morgue, and ever since the police haven't been there, the police left unannounced. They believed that the police would have come back, but they never came back to the site. So far, it's been the effort of the community folk trying to help get out these people who they believe are trapped in the pit. The NADMO, we are yet to get any information from the NADMO or get to contact to the NADMO. But what I'm aware now is that the police have been to the site. When they got there, 2 people had been retrieved, and they helped in conveying these 2 people to the morgue. And ever since, the police are yet to return to the site.
And I am reading, the story is actually on myjoyonline.com, and I'm reading that this is the second time an incident like this has happened in the same pit mined by illegal miners. What more can you share on that?
Exactly. According to the Townsfolk, early this year, some people died through similar accidents or similar incidents at this particular area. People had been advised against going into the pit to mine. But after that, there are some recalcitrant people who believe that there are still more gold left within the pit. So some decided to go in there. And unfortunately, yesterday, the pit came in. So it's not the first time that the people of Mpasetia are seeing such an accident at this area or at Galamsey site. But yes, so people have defied anyone against mining in those areas illegally.
And right before you go, I just want you to confirm that those two bodies that were rescued, or should I say extracted from that pit, the identity of only one person is known as at this moment.
Exactly. Now, the information that I have is that one person has been identified by the family who are within. Remember, they are.
And I think you're breaking up. If you can pause and stay in one place, and then we can get that information from you before you go.
As I was saying, remember, one of the people who yesterday were retrieved have been identified by family.
Right.
But the other is yet to be identified. He's not someone known to the community here.
Well, thank you so much, Nanaya Aljuma, and we're standing by for when you get to the site. You can give us some live visuals so we can all get updated on the situation. And this is what's happening right now. 2 people dead so far. They're still trying to reach to the remaining 3 people who've been trapped under that pit. And we're learning now that it's the second time something of the sort is happening at the same place, in the same pit. It's a wonder why, especially local leaders will let this happen again. But before we go, Ghana, let's talk about water tanks. Do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's not the correct tank. That's right, the tortoise tank, Syntex tank, is the champion of water tanks. It is strong and durable, and it is built to handle our Ghanaian weather. So whether rain or shine, Syntex tank has got your back. So my people, go outside, check your tank, and if it doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. Give us a call now, 0244 335 168. Or you can also find one of over 400 agents nationwide. Another option is to shop online at syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a strong, a talk. We'll be back with more on the AM show. Please stay. You're still watching the AM show. Let's talk about Dream Oval Foundation and an interesting thing they've got coming up now. In the studio with me this morning to get us more details on that, Ifwa Isiama Ejay is Executive Director of Dream Oval Foundation, and Mina Asabia is Programs Coordination Lead at Dream Oval Foundation. Ladies, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I want to start with you, Ifwa. Tell me a little bit about Dream Oval Foundation.
Certainly. Dream Oval Foundation is a nonprofit. We were established in 2013 with the mission of digitally transforming the country by enabling and empowering Ghanaian youth to become the innovators, the creators, and the designers of the technology that they use. Over the last decade, we have implemented programs, initiatives that support this mission to ensure that ICT skills, digital skills, STEM education is at the forefront of Ghanaian education empowerment.
How do you measure impact?
So we measure impact all through ways, qualitative, quantitative, and we essentially measure impact through the people that we work with.
Yeah.
After going through one of our programs, have you seen your life change? Have you encountered more educational opportunities? Have you seen economic inclusion? These are the ways in which we are able to ensure that our programs are impacting communities for the better.
Yeah, I want to know about Waytech from you because you have the T-shirt. Tell me about Waytech.
Waytech is an initiative that Dream Oval Foundation came about. We saw a gap when it comes to women educated, and we were looking at opportunities that we can give them using digital skills and online presence and how they can make impact in their society and the communities that they live in. So that's how come we thought through it and we came up with this initiative.
And if I can, to support what Melina is saying is, at Dream Mobile Foundation, we believe in the power and the impact of technology, and we also believe in how education is delivered to participants. As we sit here, only about half of the world's female population in the entire world, about 50%, are currently not using the internet. And so if you see this on a global scale, then certainly we know that Ghanaian women, young girls, are being left behind in terms of digital transformation. So as Mina mentioned, it is incumbent upon us, and Dream Mobile Foundation sits at the perfect place to help bridge this divide and close the gap on digital skills and the gender gap.
Okay, and you'll be launching this initiative tomorrow.
Tomorrow, exactly.
Okay, where exactly will you be doing this?
At the Accra College of Education in East Legon. We start at 10. We'll be there from 10 to 1. So please join us. Come and see and learn more about WeTech, about our programs, about our foundation. It will be great to have you there.
Right. So now let's get some specific details out there in terms of what skills will they be learning and who's invited and is it free? Let's start with those two questions. What skills they'll be learning and who's invited?
Okay. So WeTech has been designed to create pathways for these women. It's been designed to ensure that after the program, they should be able to create and sell online courses, both internationally and nationally. They should be able to market themselves to private sector organizations, to be able to work with them. They should also be able to combine, collaborate, and work with public sector organizations. And essentially, this is going to provide a leverage, an opportunity for them to learn more, to work in education spaces, and then to continue to grow themselves professionally. Yes, I'll have.
Just to add to it, so we are in collaboration with some EdTech organization as well. We'll have the president of the Ghana EdTech Alliance join us for the launch as well. So this is actually going to give opportunities to these women, partner with some EdTech organization and create revenue for themselves.
Okay. But at the launch event tomorrow, just in case someone is interested in coming, are there any notable people who will be attending or speaking, or who's even your keynote speaker? No, Mina, you take this.
Okay. So we'll have Professor Samuel Atintono, who is the principal of Accra College of Education, as our guest speaker for the launch. We'll also have a panel discussion. We'll have the president of the Ghana EdTech Alliance join us, who is also within this EdTech space, also join the panel discussion. We would have Dr. Menace Obeng, who is also very passionate when it comes to education policies, and she's very keen on social science as well. We'll also have Stephen Adumako, who is the manager for entrepreneur development at ALX, also joining the discussion. So there's going to be a great discussion at the launch. It's not just going to be talk. We'll try and have some practical discussions on how to make this fruitful and expand across the country.
Okay, and I know you have support from Internet Society Foundation. How crucial is partnership for you to be able to even make this initiative a reality? How crucial has partnership been?
So it's been extremely crucial and the basis for which we can even deliver this program. Internet Society Foundation works only in 6 countries: Colombia, Brazil, Indonesia, Senegal, and Ghana being one of them. And we are one of the few programs they have decided to work with. Their mission is on developing, evolving, and using the internet. And under the program that we fall under called Skills, their focus is on strengthening communities, building communities through the use of internet to enhance economic inclusion, as well as educational opportunities. So if you look at that and you look at our foundation and the work that we do, it was a perfect marriage. They have been supportive and helpful in how we implement and deliver this program to the women we work with.
Okay. I want you to weigh in on the conversation that's going on social media about how AI, whether or not we should adopt it, we should encourage it, or AI is coming to steal our jobs and make people dumber. You know what I mean? What do you think? Where do you lean towards in this conversation? Because this is right in the work that you do.
I personally am a proponent of AI. I'm a proponent of technology that enhances our lives and moves us forward. As I'm sitting here with you today, there is a personal touch that I don't think AI will ever be able to replace.
Absolutely.
But I do think there are ways in which information is being spread through AI that is crucial. We're able to use AI to design maps. We're able to use it in our daily lives for both fun, for pleasure, and for work. And so anytime technology is new, I understand the concerns and the worries about it. But what I do say is that human beings are separate from technology, and there's no way it could ever replace us. It can only enhance our work.
Yeah. Thank you. Mina, feel free to add something on that, but I also want to hear from you. If someone wanted to actually join and participate, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so currently we have our first cohorts that we are starting with, but they can also write to us officially at info@dreamover.org. They can equally follow our social medias for the next cohort updates. We'll be putting out...
What's the handle for your social media?
So dreamover.org for all our social media handles, or they can write to us officially at info@dreamover.org to get updates on when the next cohort begins. But we currently have our first cohorts that we are beginning with this month.
Okay, so across all social media platforms, your Dream Oval, and that is Facebook, X. And LinkedIn, everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, any final thoughts and before we go?
Yes, we're really...
Plus, I'd like to give our guests the chance to speak directly to the audience.
Okay.
Since, I mean, you came here with a message, and I think this is wonderful. A fantastic initiative that you're doing, bridging the gap that exists in terms of women who are able to excel in technology and even use technology for the basic things. So I appreciate that you're doing this. What's your message for our audience? And that's your camera.
Okay, perfect. We are excited to launch this program. We're excited to continue bridging the gap in digital skills. And we want to ensure that women and girls are not left behind. So your support with WeTech, your support with Dream Mobile Foundation is immeasurable. We invite you to join us tomorrow and learn more about our program, our mission, and our values.
Thank you. Mina, you have the final word.
Yes. So for me, it's going to be an exciting journey for our first cohort beginning tomorrow. I invite everyone to follow us on our social media or come in person at the Accra College of Education. We are going to have esteemed guests being in our presence. We are going to network. We have lots of EdTech organizations joining us. We have lots of educators coming in as well. We have reps from GES. We have reps from Ghana National Association of Teachers. It's going to be an awesome event, so try and pass through.
Thank you so much. And so tomorrow it's happening. And you don't want to miss it. Starts at 8 a.m. or 10?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. sharp. And is there a number they can call? Just in case someone gets lost, someone wants more information. I do see your social media handles on the flyer, but there's no number to call. Okay, so of course, digital. Everything is digital. So yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ifua Isiameje. She's Executive Director, Dream Oval Foundation. And Mina Asabia is Programs Coordination Lead, Dream Oval Foundation. And they're launching WeTech tomorrow. Don't miss it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right. Stay with me because there's still so much more coming your way on the AM show. We'll be right back. Thank you.
But adults, you know that, look, at your age, you should be able to do one or two things.
Hey, yes. At your age?
Yeah, at their age. Because they are, in their 20s. Yeah. But this time around, we've cut down the age. You know, before we were doing 7 to 14. Mm-hmm. This time around, we've cut down to 7 to 12.
Oh.
Yes, we realized that, okay, so after they turn 14, they become all so grown up. Kids grow so fast.
All right.
Yes, and we want the whole cutie things in the kitchen.
Okay.
Seeing a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old cooking, and it's like so beautiful to watch, and just to know their knowledge about food as well. It's very exciting. So we decided, okay, let's keep the older adolescents, and let's do 7 to 12, and let's see how it goes. So yeah, this time around we're doing 7 to 12, and I can't wait for the season to begin.
And I know that the entries will close tomorrow.
Yes.
But even before we talk about that, what is that wow factor for the 4th season of Big Chef?
Sweetie!
Tell me. Tease us.
Okay, so the Gen Zs will say, let me spill the tea. But I'm not going to spill it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so last season, the highlight was My Father, My Hero, where we had the fathers cook with the kids. And we saw how some fathers do not make their kids win. Yeah, but
who are you shading, Michelle?
I'm not shading anybody. Okay. But yeah, we're bringing back that episode. And this time around in season 4, we're also going to have an episode where the kids get the chance to cook with their favorite personalities. Yeah, so whether a TV personality, is it an actress that you love, which kind of celebrity you like, and you want to see yourself, do the cooking stuff with. So yeah, these are just 2 wow stuff happening this season. Yeah. That's not all, there's more. Okay. But just like I said, I'm just feeling a little. Yes. So these are just 2 that I'll let out. Okay. But this season promises to be very, very exciting. And I mean, the prizes also this time is mouth-watering than it's ever been. This is the season 4, and we're stepping up a notch high. In fact, this is 10 times 10.
Everything
times 10
is times 10.
Yes.
And Michelle, I want to know what exactly are the requirements, just in case someone is only hearing about the opening or the entries now on the Joy News channel. What is the requirements to enter the Big Chef season 4?
Right, so to be a part of Big Chef season 4, all you need to do is to record your ward. I mean, for your ward to be a part, you need to record your ward cooking his or her favorite meal, and then you edit into 2 minutes. So while they cook, they can, be talking, now there's voiceovers. So while they're cooking, hi, my name is Michelle, I'm 7 years old, and I want to be part of Big Chef season 4, and maybe my favorite food is Indomie. A lot of kids now love Indomie. So while you tell us about that, you also cook, and then you record, you send it to our WhatsApp number, which is 055-157-5757, 055-157-5757. And when you do that, when you send the video to our WhatsApp number, all you need to do is also add a hashtag Big Chef, so we're able to identify that it's a video for Big Chef. Yes. Yeah. And then we'll give you a call, and just this weekend, we'll have you come in to meet our judges.
Oh, just this weekend?
Just this weekend, yeah.
Fantastic.
We're doing the in-person audition. Yes.
You're moving with top speed, which is why you should not delay. If you're out there in your ward, can create magic in the kitchen. Michelle is saying that you have only today. Yes. Or what time tomorrow does it end?
Oh, tomorrow by 6 p.m.
Okay.
It's closed.
So you have today and some part of tomorrow.
Yes, some part of tomorrow.
Well, Michelle, I'll give you the final minutes to speak to our audience. Tell them why, even if their child cannot create magic, they should go and find magic to make the magic happen.
Well, the good thing is you don't need to be the best chef to be a part of Big Chef. All you need to have, the requirement is the fact that you love to cook and you know how to cook. The little thing you know how to do, that qualifies you to be a part. Because when you come into the competition, we'll have our judges who are also very good chefs, renowned chefs, take you through some processes so you learn 1 or 2 technicalities about cooking. And another thing is that, look, please, the mummies, I'm always endorsing the boys in the kitchen, and I'm not going to stop doing that because it's cute seeing a young boy, cooking. We've seen the ladies, and we all think that
the women will come for you, including me.
So please, it's not gender biased. Boys, girls between the ages of 7 and 12. Please make sure that when you come back from school, you're watching me now. Probably they're in school, or maybe they're on vacation. I understand some schools are vacation as well. So you take that the advantage, and then you do that today till tomorrow after 6 p.m. You miss it. Yeah.
Michelle Ejekum there. She's the host of Big Chef, and she's inviting you, especially your ward.
I'm sorry. I think I left something out.
Please go ahead.
The prize. Everybody's looking for the reason I should be here. So this time around, we're not just giving you cash and products from sponsors. You also get to win an educational fund worth 10,000 Ghana cedis.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the add-on to the prizes we've gained over time. So yes, you need to be a part of this.
Don't you wish you were a kid? So I can just join in there. But Michelle Ejekum is the host of Big Chef, and this is season 4. Entries close tomorrow. She's been kind. She says you have from today till 6 p.m. tomorrow to send your entries to be a part of this beautiful program on the Joy Prime channel. Michelle, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Before we go, are you ready to dream, dare, and deliver in the world of IT? Look no further than Jackson Institute of Technology, the only NIIT authorized training center right here in Ghana. Now at JIT, we provide world-class IT training for individuals and corporate organizations, equipping you with industry-relevant skills in software development, cybersecurity, networking, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, big topic today, digital marketing, and more. And we offer globally recognized certifications, practical job-ready training, and flexible hybrid learning options. which allows you to study online or on-site. And our expert instructors ensure hands-on learning experiences that prepare you for success in today's digital world. And conveniently, we are located on the Ring Road near Circle, in the heart of Accra's Central Business District. And in Kumasi, because we are not leaving you out, at Jackson Educational Complex headquarters, Ayeduase, near KNUST. JIT provides easy access for students and corporate clients, and our state-of-the-art auditorium is also available for corporate events, seminars, and training sessions. Why don't you call us or send us a message on WhatsApp on these numbers: 059-699-6037 or 059-699-6038 or 055-271-4635. You can also visit our website, www.jit.edu.gh. JIT, your gateway to a thriving IT career. Of course, a reminder that the AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties, and that's how we're wrapping the show this morning. I'm Sweetie Abochi, and I always do this with Benjamin Akakbo. We're back on your screens tomorrow. Today does feel like a Monday, but it's because of the holidays we had. It's a Wednesday. We're back tomorrow, Thursday, for the AM show. Stay for Joy News Desk coming up next. Bye for now.